and welcome back to the Boise State Esports Arena as we continue our coverage of the Mountain West Championships that have been going on throughout the week. And today, earlier today in the arena, we were covering all the action as the Rocket League teams in the finals were going up against each other to determine who will be the championship winner for the 2024 fall semester. And now we get to jump into Super Smash Bros, where we get to see Hawaii University go up against San Jose University, the Rainbow Warriors versus the Spartans, to see who will take home the gold and be crowned the grand champion of the 2024 Mountain West Championships. I, for one, am very excited to see another crowning event happen today, and we've got a little bit of a crowd to continue watching all the coverage of this to get excited and see what might be some things that we're excited to see come out from both of these teams.
Oh yeah, this game should be one to remember. Hawaii has kind of dominated this whole series as the team to beat. I think they've only dropped one round in their game so far, and so the Spartans are looking to somewhat get revenge. It's sort of a David versus Goliath situation, but I have faith in David in this scenario. The Spartans have shown time and time again that they can break through a tough defense and honestly put you on the back foot when it comes to Super Smash Bros. And I think they have what it takes to finally take one off of Hawaii.
Yeah, I do think we'll be seeing a lot of interesting matchups too with all of the characters that we'll be getting to check into. As we can see here, we're getting a little bit of a preview of the characters we might be seeing from all of these teams. With Hawaii, we can see Pokemon Trainer Snake, Zero Suit Samus, and Robin versus up against Wolf, Duck Hunt, Luigi, and Shulk. I'm very excited for these. I think I'm a big fan of a lot of these characters. Pokemon Trainer's pretty fun. I remember from Boise State versus Hawaii, Small Left was a very tough opponent and a very skilled player in a lot of different characters. And something interesting also I think will be with these matchups is that this is going to not be a best of 3 crew battle, but a best of 5 crew battle. So we're going to see a couple more matches, potentially, and that'll kind of, I think, change up the pacing. I mean, we've talked about it a couple of times, and there's a lot of games with that, but pacing is everything, and the more matches you play, the more elements it adds to the gameplay.
Yeah, especially in Super Smash Bros, where games can take quite a while. I believe it's a 10-minute timer until the match stops, so you have 10 minutes in order to take 3 stocks, and when you take that along with if you lose 1 stock in the first round and go into the second one, you are still down 2 stocks, and your opponent has 3, it is kind of a mental mind game, and you have to kind of play around a proposed weakness, and especially if your character isn't particularly good against another. Like you're playing more of a up-close and personal character against somebody who wants to stay back and shoot up, and the ability to play around those weaknesses and play to your strengths while also keeping in mind the timer and maybe even a stock disadvantage is an incredibly useful skill for these players.
Yeah. Though I will note, although we are going to be in a best of 5, you might notice on the screen right now that Hawaii does have 1 point, and that is not a fluke. That is because they have had incredible performance and been able to win out in all of the divisional games, and so because of that win, they do get the first point advantage for this matchup. So they will need 2 points to win, 2 more points, and SJSU will have the challenge of having to crawl all the way from 0 to 3, which you're talking about David and Goliath, and I really think that's setting up that storyline at that point where if they want it, they got to run the whole mile there to be able to get through it.
Yeah, they got to run the whole 9 yards, and Hawaii gets kind of a boost here. But honestly, I think it's good for them to be able to win every single round this year. They have put on a stonewall of a performance this year, and San Jose, if they want to crack that stone wall, they got to expose every single weakness they can, and I bet you money that they can find it.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at all of these teams and players, we've done a little bit of research, and we've been able to talk to some of the players. We know that a lot of these players, especially for San Jose State University, they have a lot of time and effort put into this game. I mean, when we were talking to all the players, everyone that we talked to either started right at the beginning of Smash Bros. Ultimate, or were playing games like Melee before the actual release of the new game. So this is a team with experience, with knowledge. They have been familiar with the game since it even released, and so that gives them a great opportunity to show off this experience. And I mean, for both of these teams, because it is the end of the season, this is what they've been building up to, what they've been hoping to be able to achieve as they get ready to, show off their skills and see who can take the championship.
Yeah, this is the ultimate challenge here. Even for experienced players, the pressure can get to you sometimes, and the ability to keep going even when under all this pressure is what determines the good from the great players here. And looking at the character sheet, or looking at the player sheets just one more time, we were also talking about some of the descriptions of characters, and I found one pretty interesting. One of the SSJU players said that he is a goat. I don't know how goats can play Super Smash Bros, but I guess we're going to find out today.
Yeah, I mean, he does say that he's pretty good at everything with Smash Bros, so we'll have to see if that player will be the GOAT leading his team forward, which actually I do believe that it is the first player on the roster here that we're seeing, so potentially if Wolf goes out first, we'll see if he's going to be the anchor or the kind of trailblazer for the team here as they get ready to run into it. I mean, overall, I think both of these teams have a lot of fun characters. We were kind of talking about it earlier, like looking at all the character lineups. I think we get to see a good variety of stuff. Snake is a character that I remember from this team that is absolutely terrifying, but I do see Luigi for SJSU, and as we know, Luigi is a really fun character for the you think you're fine, and then he combos you, and you lost your stock in like half a second and you didn't even realize it.
Oh, you have 0% and 3 stocks? Why don't you just go down to 2 for me, please? Yeah. I'm just going to take it all from you. I love Luigi as a character. He can just take you can be perfectly fine, and then the next second you're losing. It's crazy, but he's a fun one to watch.
I mean, it doesn't help that like his way of attacking is so much goofier looking than a lot of the characters, right? Like when he pops up, it is so funny because he's got his headbutt where he just rockets across the screen, well, the percentage chance that it'll actually pull off, and then a lot of his attacks, he's either like just bonking you or throwing you, or then he pulls out, you know, the classic Luigi's Mansion vacuum to get all the ghosts, and I mean, there's no ghosts here, so instead he's just going to use the plunger to smack you. And overall, I think he's got a great, like, he's just so silly and fun, and you know, similarly, Duck Hunt as well, in just how he works, being a old arcade game brought to life in the 3D, ready to duke it out with the rest of the characters.
Also, you don't really see a ton of Robin here in the competitive scene just because of his resource management and how a lot of his spells need to be kept on a resource or a timer if they run out. Same with his melee attacks on his sword. You only have a certain amount of swings before basically your sword or your spells are pretty much reduced to nothing. So it's one of those things you don't see a lot. Along with Shulk on the side of the Spartans, taking in that you can boost 1 stat, but only 1 until the duration's over. So it kind of gives you this option, like, how am I going to use these resources? Which ones am I going to use first? And it also gives the enemy, the other team, a sort of way to respond to it. Like, how are we going to bait out these abilities? How are we going to make them waste them so they get no value?
Yeah, you mentioned Robin. You know, I always am happy to see Robin out of all the Fire Emblem characters and all the roster that we could have. Robin's the most unique and I think interesting of, like, the characters, you know. We get the resource management, the spells. I mean, there's not a lot of, like, classic magical users in Super Smash Bros. You know, I say that, but then they did add a couple that use, like, you pick through your spells, you manage your mana, but, like, with Hero. But Robin is kind of the classic version of that, and I always like seeing them because they are just kind of a unique character.
Oh, yeah, and it adds something that Super Smash Bros. Doesn't really have a ton of, which is resource management. I mean, certain characters added with the DLC definitely do have
you
it.
say that, but, like, now it's a DLC
Yeah,
thing,
with the DLC, you have characters like Banjo and Kazooie with your dash charges.
Yeah, Wonder Wing is...
Yeah, Wonder Wing. And then you also kind of have Joker with his Arsene and his Persona, but I honestly, personally, wouldn't really count that. And then, of course,
you could call them
Hero.
Resource management. Like, Joker, Kazuya, and Terry all have... And Sephiroth, I almost forgot. Yeah. All have, if you hit me enough and get my percentage high up enough, you are now going to be dealing with a much scarier character. Joker's more unique because he has, like, Arsene and it has a bar like Cloud does.
Yeah.
But the rest of them, it's kind of a... You have to manage how you're doing in regards to them, because if you're not careful and then they get their stronger mode, then you're just kind of done for.
Oh, ho, ho, you're approaching me?
Right? Yeah, basically that. And, you know, then we have, like, Steve and Banjo and...
Yeah, Steve is like the poster child for
resource management. Well, he also, okay, but he doesn't have as much of, like, the risk reward of, like, the rest of the resource management's character, it's a risk of reward. But, like, with Steve...
It's just reward.
It's just reward. It's just, okay, here's my wall, don't mind me. And if you're not playing a good character that can stop him, then you just have to watch him as he just mines in his little silly way, because it's the same exact animations from the game. And compared to all the other characters, which are, like, fully animated, like, in a way that makes them way more, like, human-like, we have good old Steve just mining away.
Well, I mean, we're going to get the Minecraft movie here pretty quick, so we're going to see what Steve would look like if they decided to animate him in a real-life way. I don't know if Jack Black's going to be the one to replicate Steve the best, but, I mean, it should still be fun either way. But with that, we are going to be moving into round 1. And it looks like we're going to see Shulk coming out first, along with Ludwig. And this should be a little bit interesting. Shulk is kind of known as this get-up-in-your-face character, and Ludwig can do a ton of stuff from like the other side of the board, but he also has a lot of options to get away as well as sort of pressure you out.
As we jump into it, already the damage is being thrown onto Shulk here. 22%, not able to land a lot of hits as he's just trying to avoid the speed of the car as we see the combo, and he now gets a booster out, able to move a little bit more easily around his abilities and shielding to make sure he doesn't take any more damage, going to knock Ludwig up onto the platform, but not really be able to throw him off the ledge yet without these percentages.
Yeah, Ludwig has done a pretty good job at keeping himself in this game. Shulk is a really scary character, especially with his Buster. Like we are seeing right now, it's almost out right now. Ludwig's up at 69% compared to Shulk. He's pretty close. They're honestly pretty close. This game has been incredibly close so far. Ludwig not really able to get any hits in. I say that, and then he immediately gets one. But just like that, Shulk's right able to get back onto the stage, and we're back to square one.
Yeah, 93 to 73%. Shulk able to get some good damage off, but is going to get launched in the air and now have to do his best to avoid taking any more major damage and gain back control of the field, with Hawaii able to just kind of lock down this middle zone. Great read there. Ludwig was going to pull off, and he's able to take the stock because of it. With that, we're now able to get a little bit more room to work here. Quite impressive from the Shulk player.
Yeah, the slash came out on Shulk, and that was just enough to push Ludwig over the edge and outside of the blast zone. But now we see Shulk still keeping up this pressure in the middle of the stage. Ludwig just has not been able to do anything on the stage that he'd like to do to get that pressure up. Good combos out of Shulk coming out. Ludwig doing a pretty good job at keeping away from him. But now we're seeing the Shulk play a little bit more cautious here. We see him come out a little bit more. He's got the speed up and just not really able to find a ton out of it, but he's still only at 96%. There is a lot of room to keep the pressure up.
Yeah, 96 to 50%, getting so much damage up onto Ludwig while keeping his stock. He is hanging on with every breath to be able to try and keep himself in the spotlight here and keep the advantage for his team, but at 110%, any strong hit could be the knockout, and he knows that, keeping Ludwig in the zone outside of the stage. Not for long, however, as he's going to get launched over as well. Try to avoid any attacks that could knock him out at 118 to 98%. Still fairly comfortable, but not as comfortable as he wants to be here. Ooh, going to get launched off the stage. This could be an opportunity for Ludwig to knock him out. Watches for the ledge advantage, but is able to get around, still taking a considerable amount of damage. And with that grab, he is going to not be knocked out, but the cannonball is going to follow shortly up and even this up.
Out comes the cannonball. That ends up being the end of Shulk, but 8 to 68%. Shulk still does have the lead in this matchup here. As long as he's able to get up to Ludwig and get a lot of that damage on, this slash is dangerous even from the mid-70s. It's a crazy move to work around, and it forces you to play a little bit safer. Ludwig, though, getting a lot of damage up on Shulk, forcing him to back off with speed. And now all this Ludwig has to do is just keep piling on the damage onto him. This Shulk is doing a great job, though, rolling around. He's got the slash out, and out goes Ludwig. Now Shulk is in a lot better position here than he was in the last round.
2-1 with 54%. However, he's going to take a bit of a beating from Ludwig as he just spawns back in here, dodging the car and trying his best to not take too much damage. He really wants to be able to capitalize on this stock, but will he be able to at 96%, having to try and avoid the ledge guard? But it's gonna recovery fail, bringing it 1-1 for the first matchup.
Wow, and now the percentages are pretty close too. Shulk wasn't able to get that jump off in time, which allowed Ludwig to score a pretty early kill, all things considered. Shulk now at 24%. These guys are going neck and neck right now. But still, the winner of this will pretty much determine the momentum of the rest of the game and which one of these players has to go in a 1v3. So Shulk winning this here puts his team at a pretty big advantage.
Buster getting some good damage off, 47 to 33. With extra damage from the buff here. Now has to watch for his opportunity, which he might be presented with, but the car is going to deny him, and he's going to run out of the buff before he can capitalize. And Ludwig getting a solid combo. We're going to get faked out, but at 103 to 63. Shulk is in a very dangerous position as his advantage that he once held kind of gets taken away from here. 122 to 63 with the jump buff out, dodging everything that Ludwig is throwing at him here. One finals misstep could be the end.
For both players, too. If this Shulk gets out that smash attack boost, this Ludwig is still in a dangerous position. We see him go more for the speed, gets knocked up, but is able to DI his way back in. Looks like Shulk is still in this game. Out comes Slash.
Oh.
This Ludwig may need to play a little bit more careful, but now we see Shulk is playing it a little bit safer with speed and jump now. This Ludwig is doing a pretty good job at just pressuring out the abilities, but now he's struggling to land those car hits that were doing such a big amount of damage on this Shulk. Speed comes out, gets a good hit on Ludwig. Out goes Ludwig, and Shulk manages to take round 1.
Wow, incredible matchup there. And despite the 143 percentage, which basically meant that any grab was his end, he is able to take it for his team and put Hawaii on the back foot for this first set.
Yeah, even having a one stock advantage is just so crazy important in this game. It puts a precedent on the enemy team like, hey, we need to not only knock this guy out, but also prevent a stock being taken from us. And sometimes that can force out a lot of mistakes. We've seen it over and over and over again in the series, or not this series, but just over the season in general. We see teams get put on the back foot and then they struggle to get off of it as they move forward, which causes a snowball and eventually leads to more mistakes than what you'd like.
Yeah, well, and the benefit of like Shulk being the one at one stock here for SJSU as they go into their next matchup is that the Spartans have a powerhouse who, although he might not be able to take the stocks, that would be his hope to be able to take 3 more stocks for his team. He can at least use Shulk's powerful attacks to put a lot of pressure on the next opponent because that opponent wants to knock out that stock without any damage dealt. Well, any stocks dealt. However, it might not be possible with the way that Shulk was playing there. We saw how effective he was taking out those stocks, and so Hawaii really needs to carefully think about what character they might want to bring next.
Although I will say, the Shulk had a really good ability to notice when his buffs were not working. We saw a lot of the time he was canceling them before they were over, especially his speed and jump ones as well. It just allowed him to cycle back to him. But I think the next player for Hawaii could capitalize on that. You see, if he catches Shulk out using one of his movement abilities instead of his attacking or defensive ones, it could spell the end for the Shulk player pretty easily too. So we can't quite write out Hawaii yet, but this Shulk has done a really good job at keeping him on the back foot.
Yeah. I mean, the name of the game at this point is just how many stocks. It's just how much pressure, how much space can you give? The goal of like the starter is how much space can you give to your team? So that's really all Shulk wants to do here, right? Is he wants to run in, get a buff that'll be really effective for him, and try and get at least 1 to 2 stocks, if not all 3. But at the end of the day, it's not the easiest thing to pull off. I mean, it is so easy to be hit by a stray thing, miss your timing slightly, especially online, as we do know with Super Smash Bros. The way that is just kind of the way that the cookie crumbles is timings are off. If you're not comfortable with it or you just haven't gotten enough practice with an ability or in a character, you might not know the difference between LAN versus online timings, and that can just kind of be the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard of a home field advantage, but I've never heard of a ping advantage, which, I mean, some players might have a little bit more experience with playing on a little bit of a disconnect than some others, and that is definitely an advantage that most people don't talk about. Super Smash Bros. Is such a frame-perfect game that even just 2 or 3 frames off of attacking, it can spell doom for an entire combo. We were talking about Luigi a little bit earlier and how he relies a lot on the combos, and he can take you from 0 to completely dead in just like 10 seconds. But if he misses any of those, it spells the end for Luigi because all in all, his attacks don't do a ton of damage by themselves.
He doesn't have a ton of range except for the vacuum as well. Like he has to be really close next to you to actually be able to deal his damage. Shulk does have the benefit of his sword actually being like one of the longer swords in the game. Longer swords, not a long sword. Just to specify, my good friend in production, who always likes to clarify with me when I describe Sephiroth's sword as a long sword.
It's actually an Uchi katana.
Oh, he'll call you. I don't believe that's what it is, actually, and so we might hear from him later on that one. However, it is the benefit of having a ranged or just a longer weapon due to someone who will be throwing hands. So, you know, you're gonna have that advantage immediately. And that'll just be a boon for Shulk, especially because he also has the ability to kind of extend the blade as well.
Oh, yeah. He's got an extendo sword, if you will.
His funny, futuristic, magical-looking sword, which, with the convoluted lore of the game that he's from, you know,
I don't even think
Everything's
the
possible.
developers know the lore of of his game. I mean, I tried looking into it, and it was like the sword has a will of its own, and then it doesn't, but then it gets it back, and stab, stab.
Hey, it is it is an object. It can be used to hit things, and it does a pretty good job. So
Oh,
at the
yeah.
end of the day, it's a sword and it works, right? As they get ready to jump into these next matchups, I do think it'll be interesting. I did notice we've seen a swap of character. I don't believe King Dedede was on the roster for Hawaii there.
I don't believe so either. So we might be seeing a little bit of a DDD gameplay.
Although we won't be seeing Boise State play, it looks like we might still be seeing a DDD, which I do remember the mirror matchup between Boise State and Hawaii. This DDD is a pretty strong player as well, so I'd be excited to see where they decide to go. And, you know, considering typically when we swap it up, that might be the next player. I wouldn't be shocked if it's DDD versus Shulk. I mean, considering the amount of punishment like any heavy character in Smash Bros. Can take, if you want to just clear one stock and not risk losing a stock, that's a pretty solid way to go as a heavy character.
Oh yeah, heavies are really fun to. In my opinion, heavy characters are the most fun to watch. I love DDD. I think he's got a really good kit, and also the ability to not be launched as far with smash attacks is incredibly valuable to Super Smash Bros. Being such a if I get knocked off this stage, there's a good chance of me losing this stock sort of game. And depending on the matchup, DDD can run really, really well, especially into lighter characters like Shulk. If he hits you with that hammer and you're at a high enough percentage, you pretty much have no shot.
Yeah, it's kind of done. However, DDD does have the disadvantage of his Gordos are one of his most effective weapons for zoning, and if you know how to deal with them, that is a weakness. And characters with swords tend to do really well because they have the range to deal with it before it's right next to them, and the timing is going to be off. But we are going to jump into it and see if it will be the matchup we thought it was, which it looks like it is. Hawaii versus SJSU, King DDD versus Shulk. As Shulk is going to have to reset his stocks to 1, we'll get to see if he is able to make a dent in this powerhouse of a character, or if Hawaii is going to shut down and even the scores right here and now.
Now the blue penguin himself comes out. It'll be interesting to see how this guy plays DDD. Different players have a lot of different play styles for DDD. Some like to run in and do a lot of damage with the hammer. Some like to zone out a little bit more with the Gordo. And it'll be interesting to see how different players want to utilize him. But I will say, I think Shulk does have a slight advantage in this matchup just because he's a little bit faster, but it'll be interesting to see what happens as we move into this match.
You say a little bit faster, but then he chooses to add the speed buff, increasing his speed even more so, getting the first couple hits off onto DDD. As the Gordos do get thrown out, he's able to shield them successfully so far and not really give him the opportunity to deal damage back.
Ooh, out goes the Gordo, just like you were saying, a pretty good defense, a good zoning tool, but can spell the doom for the DDD if used incorrectly. Shulk still has yet to take a shot on this attack, on this round. DDD is already up to 55. Oh, no, I say that, and then he gets hit immediately, but the Gordo does get returned to DDD. DDD now in smash range.
70% to 26. Shulk, very just advantageous position here, but DDD starting to gain some ground, throwing him off the ledge and using the Gordos to try and attempt a ledge trap. Isn't going to go through, but he's not going to let Shulk go down without just getting any more hits off here. As we can see, he's going to get thrown off the side. Shulk's going to go for the ledge guard here, and DDD's going to have to try and get around it, able to dodge through. 86 to 75, evening out the percentages with some powerful hammer attacks, but now it's kind of anyone's game as DDD goes back to the other side, kind of taking a trip to both ledges, trying to get the Gordo off right, but Shulk hanging on strong here so far, is avoiding as many as he possibly can.
It's why these heavy characters are so powerful. They can turn a disadvantage into a pretty significant advantage. DDD was down this entire time, and now he's leading in percentage by 40 points on Shulk. He's got this, if he hits even one shot on Shulk that hits him even slightly well, this could spell the end for Shulk's run. But I will say he's done a really good job at staying away, but being at 153 points isn't good even to a light character.
And we can see that here. Shulk getting some more damage off, going to activate the smash buff to deal some extra damage if he can. DDD not wanting to take any of that, is not going to be able to, as he does get knocked up into the air. Shulk trying to use this opportunity to go for a knockout, but gets punished for it and is going to be able to hang on at 172. It is now or never for Shulk. 172 to 127, bringing it to the other ledge here, as DDD is going to get knocked off the area and not be able to immediately get onto ledge as he wants. 136 to 172. Any good hit here will be the doom of the player, and we can see DDD gets that last hammer swing in and is able to successfully bring the stocks back down evenly. But what a great showing from Shulk there.
Yeah, this was the best case scenario for DDD, though. Being able to get a stock onto SSJU's team without taking any himself is what they needed in order to put themselves at an advantage. Although, like you were saying, Shulk did a really good job at staying away. The issue with DDD is that he can do so much damage in such a small amount of time, and his hammers have a deceptively large hitbox. I mean, even for a large character, I believe he has the most range out of anyone for his melee attacks.
I mean, he has a lot of reach with the hammer, both being a very, like, big character and having a massive hammer. So, like, yeah, he has a lot of really good range. I mean, the only one who really outclasses most characters is Sephiroth with his sword. And because of that, like, yeah, it's just, it makes it hard for Shulk to move in. And both of them can deal a lot of damage, but Shulk does require those buffs to really make a lot of it. So I think that, you know, if anything, I'm a big fan of watching DDD play, and this is kind of exactly what you would want to see from a DDD who wants to recover and prevent a stock loss.
Oh, yeah. DDD did a really good job in that game, too, of also dodging his Gordos. And to that regard as well, Shulk did a really good job at sort of denying any value out of the Gordo attacks as well. A lot of the time, they'd be shot right back at him or just blocked by the shield entirely. It is a shame, though, that he did get hit a few times by him, which is what brought him so far down. Oh,
yeah,
but
getting into the instant replay, we can see this last couple moments here as Shulk tries to go down using his advantage, but the Gordo timing was just beautiful there and doesn't really allow him to do much. Yep. That one last little moment. Right here, I believe. They both kind of move in for the attack, and
yeah, DDD just came in a little bit faster.
Jumped up in the air to use a aerial attack and get some extra damage. And I mean, when you're at 172 and a lighter character, like, you're going flying. Like, you're going to go on a trip. Like, you can only fake out so many times. And I think the crowd agrees with that one here, getting all excited for this championship match.
I mean, 172 in any character is just a bad spot to be in. Light characters are going to get flung off the stage. Heavy characters are going to get thrown around like a ping pong ball. It doesn't really matter where you're at weight-wise. If you are that high up, you're in danger a lot of the time. But Shulk hanging on as long as he did was definitely a surprise, especially in that last exchange that we saw, how he got hit by that Gordo and got sent almost to the blast zone, but was able to DI and come back.
Yep. The fakeouts are strong today, and I would expect nothing less from a championship match where these players have been working hard to not only master their characters' kits, but to avoid the exact situations that we were watching them deal with. So, you know, I'm not shocked, and I'm not surprised if we'll be continuing to get excited and scream the, oh, they're out, and then watch as they are able to recover fairly easily because they know exactly what they're doing with that. I mean, Smash Bros. Is just as much a game of, like, math percentages and the knockback as it is a game of skill with the buttons.
Oh yeah, tons of button knowledge, but also knowing when to push your advantage, when to slow down. Just being able to recognize all of that is one of the most important skills, not just for Super Smash Bros., but any game. Knowing when you have the advantage, knowing when to push, and also knowing when you're at a disadvantage and maybe waiting back a little bit more for a time to strike. Shulk did that really well in the beginning of the game, but I think as it went on, he just sort of got into a disadvantageous spot and wasn't able to go.
And it looks like the next up will be Duck Hunt against King DDD to try and gain the advantage once more for the Spartans, while the Rainbow Warriors see if they can continue to use this momentum they've gained to start to lead towards victory for themselves. Both teams getting ready, testing out their actions, making sure it all feels good as we get ready to go into the match.
Oh yeah, Duck Hunt's an interesting character because he does a lot of stuff in a kit that you wouldn't expect. He's got a ton of range with his cans and his frisbees, but he can also do a ton of damage up close with some combos as well. Like as we see here with the can as well as the frisbee too, bringing DDD already up to 32% off 2 attacks. Duck Hunt is just a really good character to zone out the opponent. Already up to 74. This seems like a repeat of the Shulk matchup, but just if it's a repeat of that, it also may be for the DDD going back up as well.
You can see he's really timing his ability with the can to get the maximum value out of his explosions, bringing DD to 119% before taking any damage. as we see really just not letting DDD get close, trying to avoid any potential of him swallowing any of his projectiles and just kind of keeping him at bay, which, I mean, is the name of the game for Duck Hunt here, as we see.
Oh, yeah. Duck Hunt still has yet to take any damage, and DDD is already up to 157%. This is a bad spot for DDD, but if he can close that gap, that Duck Hunt is done for. Duck Hunt is able to get up and close and personal off of DDD's info. Whoa! Frames, hit by his own Gordo. There goes the first stock for DDD.
That, Duck Hunt gaining the advantage and still not taking any damage as he now gets his first little taste of the hammer at 19% to 20%. Hawaii still has a very long way to go if they want to be able to even up this match, and Duck Hunt trying to reposition might be in trouble here as he's kind of stuck on ledge with the DDD, trying to look for any opportunities to get set up, and he's not gaining them as much as he would like. Now able to combo DDD into the air, 51 to 67. Will he be able to get the cans out is the real question here, and it doesn't look like he is.
Ooh, off the ledge by the Gordo. What a good ledge trap off of Duck Hunt, but now he is on the same position he just put DDD in. Is he gonna be able to recover? No, he's not. There goes the first stock for Duck Hunt, tying it up 2-2.
2-2 here too. Wow, just already back into it. Although that could have been rough and spelled doom, Duck Hunt is taking it with this classic smile he usually has, bringing DDD to 127% with the gas cans. DDD using that just barely to avoid it here. Kind of stuck in a rough spot once again, but now getting a little bit more timing with the Swallows to prevent any explosions from really just knocking him out of the game here.
Yeah, he's done a really good job at zoning out the explosions in this back half, but once he gets off stage, they can't really do anything about him. Using that can against the Duck Hunt this time, kind of preventing the ledge trap with his down B with the Sheriff, and now he's able to get back on point almost for free just because DDD can't get to him. Of course, I say that, and then he runs up straight to the dog and hits him with a hammer. But Duck Hunt has done a really good job at zoning this out, but DDD at the same time has been able to capitalize on a lot of the weaknesses Duck Hunt does have, with him needing to be close to do a ton of his damage.
150 to 100%. Anyone's game here considering any good hit. But right now, DDD is in trouble, stuck in the air here. Now just barely getting the upper hand with the footing. Going to, whoa, great read with the Swallow to grab his Gordo and shoot it back as Duck Hunt goes. Now at 190%, Duck Hunt is going to even it up, bringing it once again, like we were talking about, very similar to the previous matchup here, 1-2-1.
Wow, now it is 0-0. Duck Hunt's going to take the first little bit of damage, but DDD just got caught in a trap up to 51. Holy moly. DDD is just racking up the damage, but Duck Hunt can't take as much of a punishment as this big old penguin can. So the real question is, can he keep up the pressure and get the first stock?
Seems like he might be struggling a little bit here. 86 to 18%. Wants to be able to trap him on ledge, but all he has to do is shield and avoid the explosion. Swallow the Frisbee and just kind of bide his time, which we see him attempting to do here. As soon as Duck Hunt gets put in a rough spot, we can see it becomes a lot harder to hang on. Now in ledge, he's going to get the good old Goomba stomp off onto DDG and create some space, gaining control of the field once more. Now at 104 to 48%. This could be where DDD is taken out with an explosion, preventing him from really gaining his footing. He has to hold on to ledge and hope he can avoid it. Successfully getting away, Duck Hunt is going to back off here, try and gain some more space and another explosion. Swallow going out as he does successfully knock him back into the air. Now at 156, Duck Hunt is hunting for that opportunity. Although he's not the normal bird on the menu, this might be Duck Hunt's opportunity to knock him out.
Yeah, those bean cans just do so much damage. They are something that you can't ignore. But the Gordo goes back at DDD, taking him out, allowing Duck Hunt to go up an extra stock.
And with that, SJSU still just kind of hanging on to that one stock advantage, which, you know, for a grand finals, I'm not really surprised, I suppose. Like, we'll see, like, the stock advantage. You always want to be able to get, like, a character at least. But in a moment where these teams have been working this entire season to like compete, learn, grow, get through all of this, one stock doesn't surprise me. But it's still been impressive to see how close these matchups have been.
Yeah, we haven't had quite a blowout just yet. Not with stocks, not with percentages. Everybody is kept really, really close. And I guess in the case of Duck Hunt, really close is like within 100 points because he can just sit back and do a ton of damage from range. But I will say, he did a really good job at keeping DDD away and using the Gordos against him. That zoning tool is super important for DDD. And I mean, Duck Hunt is pretty much all zoning tools with his can of beans, his sheriffs, and also his frisbee as well. Just being able to do tons of damage from range and just outzone DDD.
Yeah, he outzoned one of the zoner characters, and for that, he is able to kind of continue the quest forward for his team to see if they can just keep this lead. I mean, all they need to do is keep the lead. Just one stock, and they can take this first matchup and tie it up, because considering Hawaii does have 1 point already to go.
Oh, yeah. Hawaii is already up a point. If they take this one, they'll already be at match point. So there is a ton of pressure on the Hawaii players right now. The real question is, are they going to put out Pokemon Trainer, who in some games past has proven to be quite the anchor of a player, or are they going to throw out maybe Snake first to just kind of do a little bit of a shakeup?
I mean, Snake is another zoner character, and that can be a dangerous thing, but it looks like it might not be Pokemon Trainer. It might be Pyramithra, which, if it is Pyramithra, that could be their solution to Duck Hunt. I mean, Pyramithra, one, very cool character, though, honestly, the one thing that is always sad to me about Pyramithra is they gave Pyramithra a skin where you cannot tell who's who because they're the exact same color. But as we're waiting for this next matchup, we'll get to check into the instant replay.
Yeah, this DDD's Gordo came back to be his worst enemy. Honestly, almost all of his stocks were taken either by the cans of beans or his own Gordos, which is a little bit unfortunate, but the Duck Hunt was just able to do a ton with them.
I mean, Gordo itself does so much damage, and the benefit of being able to reflect it just really shows kind of what can happen. And that one really quick knockout there that Duck Hunt was able to recover on was kind of, I think, that culminating spot, because looking at it, once Duck Hunt gets unseated and is not kind of in control of the field, he can't do much, as we saw from the first stock loss he did have. And it could have been kind of an onslaught where he just continued to get those knockouts because DDD has control of the field, but he was able to overall hang on and not really let him take that from him.
Yeah, nobody really had the distinct advantage in this matchup. Everybody was pretty close to one another when it came to percentages. And also in map control, DDD might not have seemed like it, but he did have quite the control towards the middle of the game. He just gave it up to Duck Hunt, which allowed for him to get those stocks in the end. As we move, but we are going to move into map 3, and looks like the Pyramithra did come out, but Duck Hunt, true to form, is already up 54-26.
Yeah, damage already out onto Mithra here, trying to dodge past as many of the projectiles as possible. And although the DDD was not able to get a lot of damage on immediately, not letting Duck Hunt bring them to 100 without a fight here, as we see Pyra coming out to deal some more dangerous damage if possible, but with the increased range, going to swap back and get a couple chip damage pieces off here. 88-71. It's going to be an uphill battle for Pyra and Mithra as they lose their first stock, increasing the lead for SJSU here.
That was really bad for Hawaii. Now they're going to be down one stock, even if they do take out this Duck Hunt without losing one. But at the same time, this is the best case scenario for the Spartans. Even if Duck Hunt goes down without taking another one, they are still up one stock. This puts them at a lot more comfortable of a pace. Duck Hunt already at 100%, but it doesn't matter if Duck Hunt's able to keep that Pyramithra away from him like he has been doing this entire game.
100% to 82%. Duck Hunt, although has shown a really good standing with percentages, does have to be careful because this is the only stock he has. If he wants to be able to take the next one from Pyramithra, then he'll have to be very careful with his couple plays here, as we see using his range to his advantage once again. 95-115. He's going to get knocked off the ledge. This could be a moment to capitalize here for Hawaii, and they don't have to, as the recovery is going to fail. And with that, we're going to be running into this next matchup with Pyra and Mithra. And as you can see, the skin I was talking about, where it's really hard to tell who's who unless the sword is visible, which more often than not when they're swinging it, it's all the particle effects. So we're going to be having a fun one with that. And now we have still just a one stock difference, but coming in with a fresh character.
Yeah, I feel like that's like all the Pyra Mythra skins, though, except for the ones that like color swap. But like the blue one, for instance, the one that people were calling like the toothpaste skin.
Oh yeah, the toothpaste skin. Yeah, I was thinking this. That was my first thought, but then I was like, oh right, the black and red skin, which would be the normally the Mythra color scheme with all the fire, but now they just both have it, and it's like, so who's who? What's the elements? What's the particle effects? And then you get that one streak of lightning, and then you're like, it's Pyra. Well, no, it's Mythra. See, I messed it up right then and there.
And honestly, both of those characters are kind of hard to tell in the heat of the moment, too, until they throw out their weapons. Or, like, you're just paying really close attention to them switching as well. I think it also swaps on the character menu, too.
It does. Like, one thing that I really like, and I appreciate the, like, attention to detail from Nintendo, is that when they, the little diamond that shows the character profiles, it does swap character profiles between the two characters. So if you're trying to figure out who's who, well, Pyra is the one who looks a little, I think the best way is looks shorter. A little bit like, I think if you took, like, if they had the same PNG, trust me, this is going somewhere. Pyra is the one that you take and shrink vertically, and Mythra is the one that you take and shrink, vertically. So one is squished up and one is squished down, and that's how you can tell the difference. And if you disagree, well, I mean, looking at their current color schemes, they basically look like one is a scaled up version of the other. As we're going to jump into it here, Wolf versus Pyra Mythra.
Yeah, the Wolf pick seems to be a really good one. Trying to match the speed of Pyra and Mythra as well as the attacking power is definitely going to be really useful in this matchup. We've seen a lot of good stuff out of the Wolf pick, honestly, throughout just about everybody who's played him. Wolf getting a few really good hits off in the beginning, but Pyra and Mythra were quick to reciprocate as well.
The powerful attacks from Pyra Mythra. A great parry there from Wolf, getting the read and getting to get a combo off, though not as much damage as he would like, so he's going to jump in for some more, but Pyra catches him off guard, bringing him to 82% against 78.
Yeah, both characters are in a pretty bad predicament, but also Wolf is in a objectively better spot, being up one stock. All he has to do is take out two stocks, and he is put up in this matchup. Pyra Mythra already sent off the side, but is able to recover. Wolf is able to recover as well, unable to find the spike that he was probably looking for. But now Pyra is on the back foot. There she goes with the back smash, or with the back aerial. Out comes Mythra. I apologize. They're very similar characters.
We were just talking about this. Look at the character on the bottom. As we see another potential knockout, Wolf hanging on at 136%, does not want to go down to this incredibly confusing character, as we have been talking about here. 136 to 7%. Kind of holding down the middle here. Do not want to advance towards Pyra with the powerful attacks, using his ranged abilities to try and gain some momentum, but it's to no avail as he gets launched upward, losing his first stock.
Okay, but I think I do see what you were talking about with the squished vertically versus horizontally.
I'm
now
not
that
crazy.
I take a little bit more of a look at it. But going back into it, Wolf taking a ton of damage to start out with, but Pyra and Mythra not really receiving any in return. They're able to get a ton of attacks off really, really fast with Mythra's abilities, as well as just her really good combos. There goes Wolf getting hit by the counter off of Pyra Mythra. Now Pyra does come out trying to get some really big attacks now that Wolf is now at 100%. Wolf needs to make up some ground if he wants to stay in this fight for just a little bit longer.
Especially if he wants to keep a lead or create an even bigger one for the Spartans. 100 to 105, making some really good progress and throwing them onto ledge. Pyra Mythra is in a rough spot here. Pyra looking for an opportunity, having to avoid the ledge guard, but Wolf is ready and moves towards the middle, really just denying them any true time to breathe, as they're both at 129. Any one hit could be the end, and with that, Wolf is down to his last stock.
Both players now at an even playing field. Pyra Mythra up to 129. This is going to be a little bit more of an uphill battle than we were thinking, but there goes the up smash, and Wolf takes the round. One stock remaining.
The Spartans really just hanging on with that 1-point lead, able to create a lot of opportunities for themselves and continue forward. But with that, we don't have to get confused anymore as we are looking at the screen trying to guess, is it Pyra or Mythra we're trying to describe right here. But I'm glad that the PNG, the scaling made sense in some shape or form at least. But now it's on to Wolf up against the last player for the Rainbow Warriors of Hawaii here, Snake.
Yeah, you were talking about him when he was playing Pokemon Trainer and how he was a really, really strong anchor. And I haven't seen him play Snake yet, but I'd imagine that he's the last one in the docket for a reason. So I'm not quick to write Hawaii out just yet. But I will say it is going to be quite the uphill battle. One stock may not seem like a lot, but the mental game of even losing one stock to the other person's one can be detrimental to the entire team. And just having the advantage is always a good thing as well.
Yeah, taking a quick look back at the previous matchup to see where Wolf might have to work to avoid any devastating attacks. We can see right here, this was one of the dangerous ledge traps here that Pyramithra had to avoid, and Wolf, with that successful read, was able to capitalize on it, which in Smash Bros, if you can get your read off, that is a devastating way to get a knockout. Which we saw right there, too.
Yeah, it was a good read to the up smash as well. Just being able to know when they're going to jump, when they're going to roll, it's just really important to realize that. And with Pyramithra, you have quite the range of attacks. Like, that up smash out of Pyra, it pretty much covers 180 degrees.
Yeah, but I do think that the range of attacks will kind of transform a little bit here with Snake. After all, it's not really the range, quote-unquote, like the distance of the attacks, but just the amount of what could be seen as random things that Snake can pull out. He's got all kinds of explosives. He's got the good old RPG, the grenades. He's got the drone to help him fly. So this is going to be a battle for the ages here to determine kind of this first moment. If Wolf can take this, he can shut them down without having to go to their last player, or the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors can keep it for a little bit longer here.
Yeah, Snake can pretty much throw everything in the kitchen sink at you, so you kind of have to be a little bit wary of all the stuff that you can be hit by. And it also allows for a ton of skill expression with the Snake player in just how much stuff you can use and how you use it. Sort of similar to Duck Hunt, but with even more projectiles.
With the emotes going out, they are ready to brawl. 1 to 3 here as Wolf using his advantage of projectiles and reflection, going to get the first bit of damage off here, 50% onto Snake, avoiding the grenades. And honestly, the damage reflection is something that we don't see often with Wolf, but we'll see plenty of in this matchup here, using that down B to his full potential.
Honestly, I kind of forgot that Wolf had a reflect, and now that I think about it, that's going to put Snake in a really bad position. All of his projectiles aren't going to do a ton against a character who can just take him and push him right back at you.
Whoa.
As we see there with the ledge guard, out goes Snake.
There. Going through the map, I think.
Yeah. Wolf has such a good edge guarding technique, and he just seems like the perfect foil to Snake in this match. Of course, I say that, out comes the RPG, and Snake takes it with 2 stocks remaining.
I mean, a point-blank RPG to the face, that doesn't feel good regardless of you being a character from space who fights the main characters all the time with an eye patch. I don't think you're going to be able to survive the RPG that often.
I mean, he is a Nintendo character, so there's a good chance that he has like some sort of lore that makes him like into the god of wolves or something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough about the game series to know exactly for sure, but with that was a very quick match for Hawaii there, which is a good thing too, because if they want to be able to take this all the way, only losing 1 stock, which isn't the best that they could have had, but losing only 1 stock does keep the kind of the totals to what we've been seeing this entire time, which is the 1 stock advantage that SJSU has been able to keep.
Yeah, as long as Snake is able to play this right, he still does have the chance at winning. He took out what I believe would be his biggest counter with that reflect, as well as having a really good edge guard. But now he's got to play into Luigi, who has a ton of really good combo games. And if you don't play around that and respect the damage that he can do, it allows him to just get so much value off of such little time. But I think Snake does have the ability to do that, just with the amount of stuff he can throw at you.
Can I also just say, I appreciate how that both of us have forgotten that Wolf's down B is a reflect, and that we both were just like, what is he doing? Oh yeah, it's a reflect. That's going to be great for this matchup.
Yeah, it's not like every single Star Fox character has a reflect in some form.
Yeah, speaking of, this matchup and the reflects, we're going to get into that instant replay where Snake got knocked out and was throwing out some grenades here. We aren't seeing the reflect that we were just talking about, but, the amount of damage that was done, and also just, again, that read of knowing that he's going to try and jump over the grenade, so just pull out the RPG instead, works out in his favor. So, although the reflect was there, it might go back in the bin of forgotten abilities for a little bit because we're not going to see it until the next matchup.
Yeah, I don't even know if he was able to use it because he was still technically in the air. I don't know if you can use a reflect while you're still trying to do that. But at the same time,
Depends on the character.
Yeah, true. Because like I know Falco has a really weird reflect where it like goes out in front of him and then it. Or wait, no, that's Lucas. I get my reflects confused. They're all kind of different in some way or another. But Wolf has a really good reflect as well. It's just unfortunate we didn't get to see a ton of it, being only one stock and all.
Yeah, but overall still gave him a really good place to start. I mean, he did take one stock from the character, so now it's going to be, it looks like Inkling versus Snake, which I think, okay, that's an interesting matchup. I mean, the benefit of Inkling being so fast and acrobatic will be really good for avoiding like grenades and other things. I haven't really ever seen this matchup, so this will be a fun one to watch.
Inkling's kind of odd too, as like one of the few characters that can actually increase the amount of damage they deal to the opponent
by making sure they have lots of ink on the opponent.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a really big Splatoon fan, so I love seeing Inkling come out, but it's not really something you see a ton of, especially like with how there's other characters that are kind of better at zoning than Inkling is. However, being able to get a ton of paint on your opponent, being able to use your bombs really effectively, and then let's not forget the roller that is the most dangerous part of their kit.
If you get hit by the roller, then you get those like 4 seconds of reconsidering your life choices as your stock is gone. As we get ready for the reset, Snake jumping around, testing their controllers, making sure they all feel good to go. Then Snake will reset down to 2 stocks, and the match will be ready to begin.
Yes. This is going to come down to who gets those combos a little bit better, who's able to zone out. Honestly, the 2 zoning matchup is one of the best in my opinion because you just get to see how each player utilizes every single part of their kit to its fullest.
As we get ready to jump into the match, Inkling already using their kit as best they can to try and get some massive damage off and try and get any advantage they can with ensuring that they get enough ink on their opponent to deal more damage.
Yeah, we are already seeing some of the zoning come out of Snake, but he's just unable to find any sort of kills on the Inkling. They're just too quick, and he can't get them into a spot where it would be super advantageous. Snake is able to stay away a little bit more, though, but he keeps getting peppered by the Inkling's guns, and it just doesn't matter too much that he's putting all this stuff down. It just keeps getting blocked up by Inkling.
55-71 to 46 here. Inkling kind of just controlling the bottom side of the stage, with Snake having to use those platforms for as much cover as possible here. Trying to use all these explosions to his advantage, but Inkling keeps just getting up close where Snake can't do as much as what he really wants to, bringing him up to 109 to 58. Getting launched into the air one more time. We are close to the knockout zone. A good bomb or potential up attack. There we go. Good upper anything really there. And that was it for Snake with 1 stock on the board against 3.
Yeah, this is a bad spot for Snake to be in because he can also damage himself with his explosives. So with Inkling always so close to him, he can't really do a ton in order to get these traps set up and do all the damage that he needs to do in order to get Inkling up to a high enough percent to KO. But we do see Inkling trying to get a few more shots off. Snake does eventually get the up tilt, which allows him to take that first stock. But Inkling still has 2 stocks left, while Snake only has 1. He's a very heavy hitter, but at the same time, can he make up the percent difference in order to bring this back to a 1-to-1 stock?
78 to 27%. Snake fighting an uphill battle here, using the grenades to really just try and keep Inkling away and not let them get any nasty combos off. However, Inkling is not deterred here, moving up for the Spartans, just conserving their energy on the ledge, not going to go for the immediate ledge guard, but also taking a little bit of damage as a consequence here. 110 to 47. Snake needing to be more careful here. Once again, using those explosives to just deny any space that Inkling would want, but Inkling is going to launch them into the air. They are going to go off the ledge with the bomb preventing him from going downwards, but that's never a problem with Snake for his recovery being so good. 144 to 89, now 157. It's getting tight here as Inkling goes for the ledge guard. Not even a ledge guard really, just deciding, you know what, we're done. Knocking him out and taking the first match. for the Spartans.
Yeah, Inkling really just said, nah, we are going to get done with this quickly, and we're going to go for it. Went for that stock, and it paid out immensely, allowing for Inkling to win 2 stocks to 0, allowing for SJSU to tie up the score.
Yeah, 1-1 now. They are not going to go down without a fight and do not want to let Hawaii get the potential of getting to match point right off the bat. So with that, it's now kind of like we're playing, in a way, we're kind of evening up. It's like it's 0-0 once again, and we're not really a best of 5 anymore, but I wouldn't know what that would technically be. So.
Well, it would technically now be a best of 3.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, because, it's a best of 3.
Yeah.
You just need to win 2 matches. So, welcome back. We're back to the best of 3 format that we've been playing this entire season. Never heard of a best of 5. So, now it's going to be checking into some of our replays throughout the matchups as we get ready for the next set.
Yeah, a lot of the plays this game, on these few games, were really, really good on both sides. Especially in the Shulk DDD game, we saw a lot of really creative strategies out of the DDD in order to get the Shulk down a stock. And we also saw a lot of creative strategies out of the Shulk player to sort of get around the really big damage found on DDD. And that can sort of be said about every single matchup, whether it be a 3-1 matchup or a 2-3. There were just a lot of good stuff going around for both teams. And it was honestly really close all the way through.
Yeah, I mean, we can see just the fact that it was so close means that we are not looking at what could be a runaway game. It is still any team's opportunity here with all the back and forth that we saw in all these matchups. There is many opportunities still for the Rainbow Warriors to kind of gain the advantage and keep running it forward, which really was what happened there, was that the Spartans managed to get that 1-stock advantage and just never let them take it back from them.
Yeah, they got up and just never came down. And if Hawaii wants to stay, if they want to keep their winning streak alive, they're going to need to find a way to get that advantage for themselves and hold on to it, just like the Spartans showed them how to do. But I think I still think they can do it. They've done it several times over the past few months during the regular season. But it should go to show how good these Spartans are, that they were able to take that stock away and hold on to it for as long as they did.
Yeah, continue to just watch these replays here. Yeah, the just back and forth that we saw these entire matchups are probably going to continue. I would not be surprised, but now a little bit wiser to the tricks of each team. I think the main thing will just be who's going to get that first round advantage, and we can see here just how well both teams were reading their opponents and planning their moves. Oh, yep, right there.
Oh, yeah.
And that is, as we were talking about, kind of the danger of Inkling there, getting that combo off and getting so much ink onto Snake. The next attack was just going to be an absolutely devastating one, but Snake was able to deny it and prevent it from becoming a problem, which, I mean, resource management in the inverse, which, Inkling is a resource management character, but a way forces you into resource management as well.
Like, oh no, I'm all orange. I can't go anywhere, otherwise I will explode. But yeah, Inkling is a scary character to go up against. It's because really fast, the ability to do a ton of damage, the ability to increase the amount of damage they do, a ton of ranged options with the bomb as well as the gun as well. And then you also have weapons like the roller, where if you are at a high enough percentage and inked up enough, you can get stuck in the ground, and it just doesn't matter what you do from there. You're sitting there reflecting on your life choices for a few seconds before Inkling comes in with the paintbrush and smacks you into Sunday.
Oh yeah, it's shield breaks and Inkling rollers that are those feels bad moments where you're just like, yep, this is my life now. I am stuck here, and I have to accept it. As we get ready for this next matchup, Hawaii, and the Spartans just are going to have to kind of figure out what's their next moves if they're going to change any characters. After all, crew battles are a major mind game. You're kind of playing chess just as much as you're playing Smash Bros, trying to determine what's the best character, where's the next move, what makes the most sense. And I'd be curious to see if anyone were to change characters. So if there were any characters you think would be changed to, or just characters you would love to see regardless of whether they're good or not, what would it be?
Honestly, I don't think we're going to see any sort of change-up. Every sort of matchup we saw was really, really well-tuned. I think that it was just a few mistakes here and there that would have removed any shot at coming back for the Rainbow Warriors. Just correcting on some of those mistakes will probably be a lot better than swapping up characters. But I do see a few of the players have a DDD pick as one of their mains, and I would, if I were to change out one, I'd like to, or not a DDD, a King K. Rool pick, and that would be a cool one to see if I was to want any sort of matchup.
I mean, it's kind of like a tale as old as time, right? When it comes to heavy matches, if you're gonna like guess, oh, which heavy is facing which heavy, it's almost always like DDD versus King K. Rool. They're just such a classic matchup. I'd say the next closest is Bowser, because he just also tends to show up, and sometimes he wrecks house. You know, it just depends on the game, and that's how every character is, right? But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. You know, I think it'd be fun to see some characters that we haven't seen in a long time. I have heard, you know, that the Duck Hunt player, which I doubt he will change because he did such a good job, but he also has some of the classic characters. He is, I think, one of the characters that plays, like, he plays King Rool, but there's a Little Mac, which, you know, I like Little Mac a lot. He's the character I pick when I'd like my brother to not get any potential shenanigans on Pac-Man, and then my brother gets to just deal with that as we play, you know, the classic, you know, family game time with good old Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And it would be fun to see some swap-ups from other characters. I would be curious to see if Hawaii chose to change any characters, just because some of those matchups didn't, like, they worked well, but maybe a character change could be that unexpected, oh, what do we do now? We were preparing for this one, and now we have a different character to deal with.
You have activated my trap card. Character swap at the last minute.
I mean, as we were talking about, the Pyromithra character, like Small Lift, is also the Pokemon trainer, so if it would end up working out for him, could be a swap that we see, and it might be, you know, a determiner, considering it's another, I have all the character options and you get to deal with character.
Yes. I honestly really like Pokemon Trainer. I think he's a fun character to go up against and just to watch, because depending on what Pokemon you're playing as, you change up your style pretty drastically. Like, Squirtle is more of a hit-and-run character. Ivysaur is kind of in the middle. And then you have Charizard, who's like, I am the big heavy guy, and you can't do anything about it because I'm super fast, because I'm way faster than a lot of the other heavy characters in the game. But Pokemon Trainer is also kind of vulnerable in that sense too, because if you go up against a heavy character, you're matched well into almost every single character in his roster. So it's kind of a balancing act of, do I want to throw out my Pokemon Trainer now, or do I want to just stick with the Pyromithra, who does really good damage?
Yeah, I think, you know, if we're going to see any swaps, it might just be in who goes first, like who goes where. I wouldn't be shocked if our anchors stay the same. They were both, like, fighting their hearts out and holding on really well. But if anything, it might be, like, who's going to be the one who goes up first. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a DDD first, just because sometimes having that heavy character is, like, that kind of balancing act for the first one, where if you really want to make a good impression, kind of, like, make a big moment at the beginning, having that heavy character that can soak up a lot of damage and, like, take stocks quickly isn't, you know, a shocking thing to see.
Oh, yeah. Also, just having the safety and security of knowing that you're not as easily knocked around as a lot of the other characters in the game, like especially the lighter characters, it's just a good thing to have, a good mindset. But of course, you're not invincible, so you do have to keep in mind that I still have to play my heart out, but at the same time, it takes a little bit of the pressure off, knowing that if I get to 200%, I may still be able to save this. I may be able to take this guy's last stock and move on to the next one.
Yeah, and we'll have to see what they decide to do as we're getting close to getting ready for these next matchups. This will be the determiner of who will get to match point first. And it looks like we're going to be seeing, like I was talking about, a character swap up, not in the type of character, but who goes first, with Snake versus Duck Hunt.
The two zoning characters going up against one another. We did see Duck Hunt put on a pretty good performance earlier in the last match, but it'll be interesting to see how he does against Snake. We didn't see Snake get to put up a lot of his traps earlier. He just kept getting rushed out before he could do anything, but it will be interesting to see if he's able to do anything in this matchup.
Well, and with the classic battlefield being the option, there are more platforms that'll get in the way of Duck Hunt and his ability to use all of his explosives. So he'll have to be a little bit more creative with how he uses them as we get into the match. Snake just taking an incredible amount of damage here at the beginning, 76 to 13%.
Yeah, still up at 13, but now up to 46, hitting those traps that Snake had set. Like I said earlier, just being able to put them in those positions is incredibly crucial to Snake's gameplay, but now that he's able to do it, he's just stacking on the damage. Both these zoning characters have done a pretty good job so far at keeping those guys away, keeping the other away from them and in their sort of range of damage, but at the same time, Duck Hunt has also just done a little bit better job at piling on the damage and putting Snake in a more dangerous position.
118 to 66%. Duck Hunt keeping the advantage for his team here and really not stopping, even though an explosion from Snake gives him a little bit of room to breathe to get the shield out. He's not going to be able to do much until, yeah, that combo, which is going to knock Duck Hunt out.
Oh no, yeah, Duck Hunt does go out in that one. That was kind of unexpected, him going out first, being so far ahead in percentage-wise. But now that Snake is getting that damage on even heavier, 41% already on the Duck Hunt, he's just unable to catch a break from the slew of grenades being thrown at him.
155 to 52%. Snake having the higher percentages, starting to really get into that danger zone here, as an explosion is going to launch him near the upper parts of the map, but he's going to be able to hang on and recover here. Now he just has to dodge all the traps set up for him and continue forward.
Yeah, out goes the grenades and C4 once again. Duck Hunt is pretty much forced to shield up here because none of his attacks are getting through due to the grenades just being able to blow everything sky high. Duck Hunt still is able to get on that side of the map and just not be able to be moved, but Snake has not been able to advance for a while now because of all the damage and projectiles that Duck Hunt keeps throwing at him. But now from the looks of things, Duck Hunt is slowly but surely getting pushed back onto the other side of the stage, and Snake might have his opportunity to finally get a few hits in.
174 to 57%. The fact that we haven't seen a stock knockout yet for either side has been impressive as they continue to hang on, kind of in this battle of attrition here, back and forth with the projectiles, looking for any opportunities, but unfortunately for Snake, he just can't quite hang on as he's gonna get launched into the stage, although because he gets launched to the other side, he's able to hang on at 200%, something that we have yet to really see from any of the characters, but the next explosion is going to take him out as his kind of life expiration date for that stock was up.
I don't know if you saw that, but after he got knocked up, Duck Hunt was hit by his own bean can, which allowed for Snake to get to the ground safely. Just unfortunately, due to how high in percentage he wasn't really able to capitalize on it. But now that he is up close and personal with this Duck Hunt, he is now able to be in control of this matchup and controlling where this Duck Hunt goes.
90% to 41, now 113. Duck Hunt has to be careful here, but with how slowly he was racking up damage previously, he is still in a fairly comfortable position against Snake. Now just using the stage to advantage.
There goes.
Snake is able to watch that timing, get the explosion, and knock Duck Hunt down to his last stock.
Yeah, Snake still has 2 stocks and at a fairly reasonable percentage too. Duck Hunt already up to 29% compared to Snake's 75, and with so many explosives getting thrown around, Duck Hunt is going to have to play it a little bit safer. We saw it during the end of that second stock. That C4 can really sneak up on you out of nowhere, especially like what just happened now. Duck Hunt going up to 76% off of just a few attacks from Snake.
107 to 89, now 119. Duck Hunt not wanting to give up without a fight here. Going to try and guard the ledge, but Snake is able to get around him. Now jumping around the platforms. Great combo read there from the Duck Hunt as he's able to take Snake down to his last stock. Now 1-1. Duck Hunt is on the back foot in a way that he really hasn't ever been before here, as any powerful hit from these explosions could lead him into a combo where he is out.
Yeah, good block out of Snake, though, not taking any damage from that bean can. Snake does take quite a bit of damage, up to 24%, but still, compared to 121, that is a preferable spot to be for him. Out he goes with all the explosive. Duck Hunt is doing a great job of clearing the board, but so is Snake. No one's really able to get their projectiles out and around, and just getting to the other side of the board is going to be a pretty good challenge for both of these players.
121 to 27. Duck Hunt making some progress on the damage, but anytime he gets near ledge, this is a dangerous spot to be. Using the risks and maybe might be outweighed by the reward here. As he uses the gas can to just, well, the bean can to really create some space for himself, but the explosions being thrown by Snake could also be devastating. Oh! Far off the map, and with that, rolling into the attack, Duck Hunt is out, and now Hawaii is going to get the 1 stock advantage this time around.
That was a unfortunate roll out of the Spartans. Just just getting out there, trying to roll back in is a really bad spot to be in. And if your opponent is playing right in your danger zone, it is just really easy to get that stock and lose it just as quick. So the duck hunt being able to hold on as long as he did was good. He just needed to play it probably a little bit slower than he was. Snake did a really good job at just pressuring out his opponent. Like we saw the slurry of grenades being used to just overwhelm the opponent almost. None of the bean cans or the frisbees were really getting through without being hit by a lot of resistance.
Yeah, we see here in the instant replay, this was near the end here where Duck Hunt was trying his best to figure out how to handle it, and with that read of where Snake was going to be, he was able to bring it down 1-1. And although he did lose the match, keeping a 1-1 distance with stocks means it's still anyone's game.
Yeah, we saw right there with the bean cans as well as all the explosives getting thrown up in the air. It really didn't allow Duck Hunt to land where he probably would have wanted to. He was almost forced into the Snake's hands. And when you're playing a zoning character, that is kind of what you want to do. You want to take the massive board that you're given to by the game developers and everybody at Nintendo, and then take it to something super small that you can then punish someone for landing in. And I feel like that's what the Snake did a lot better than the Duck Hunt in this scenario. Duck Hunt wasn't able to use his bean cans as much. He wasn't really able to get as much value out of his frisbees, and that's what allowed him to end up winning today.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about zoning in the zoning game. It's the name of the game for any character that has those projectiles they can use, and it just wasn't something that the Duck Hunt character was going to be able to do against Snake because, I mean, realistically, Snake's zoning capabilities does not have as much uptime to set up, and so he was able to set up a lot more, a lot faster, and it is setting a good precedence for Hawaii going forward, as now the Spartans have to decide what character to put up against Snake, which is going to be Wolf.
Looks like they're going to play it the same way they did last time. Hope it works out as well for them as it did. I think it is going to be really well for them, just because of Wolf's innate ability to block all the projectiles that Snake can use.
And I mean, it's just one stock he needs to remove at this point.
It's almost like the opposite scenario for this is actually. Oh wait, no, this is the opposite. As it was.
It is completely the opposite scenario that we were in the previous matchup.
Yeah. Yeah, now Wolf gets a turn as the one with 3 stocks, and Snake only has 1 to work with. But we are going to get this match rolling. Wolf coming out strong with a lot of attacks, but Snake has already set up all of his explosives. But from the looks of things, Wolf is not even going to let him get close. He's just going to keep piling on the damage, just letting him come to Wolf. But I do say that, and then he gets hit by some of the explosives, bringing him up to 13.
50 to 13%. Wolf keeping up the pressure here, going to knock him into the air, and those explosions are not deterring him as he is able to come out on top damage-wise. 97, 105 to 56, now 118. Snake already taking too much damage for his stock if he wants to be able to keep it, as Wolf is not letting him touch the ground here, knocking him up into the air over and over again. And although he does have the opportunity to use that drone, he now has to be careful to not let Wolf really get anywhere near him.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of the grenades come out, but none of the C4 is really landing. The grenades are just kind of a prelude to the C4, which is really the star of the show when it comes to his explosives. Although they do have a incredible damage potential. Wolf being already brought up to 105, both players are around the same stock, and all Snake really has to do in this scenario is find 1 stock of his own to bring his team to that equilibrium that we were talking about last game.
All right, 156 to 119. Although both could be knocked out here, Snake still has to watch his back as much as he can, with the shields trying to stay out of his range and getting kind of a lot of chip damage from the projectiles, getting close to that 200%. Oh! And with the aerial attack, Wolf is able to knock him out and prevent him from taking any of his stocks going forward.
That was like at the very edge of his attack too. That was
like just barely in the hitbox, yeah.
That was a good up air from the Wolf, but a very unlucky Snake just having your hitbox right at the edge. But that was a really good showing out of both of them. Snake did a lot better job than what I was expecting from a projectile character into Wolf, just being able to get right up and close and personal. He just had, Snake had the advantage of playing it a little bit slower, but I would say Wolf kind of set the tempo for this one and was able to press the advantage.
Yeah, as we're watching here, yep. They almost looked like they were right next to each other in that attack, so it is impressive the timing that he was able to get. And now, completely evened up stock-wise once again. I do think, though, although he got this victory, it's going to be a scary position because Wolf is a very strong character, but a lot of the characters he's going up against are kind of interesting matchups for him, being a lot more melee-focused themselves.
Yeah, a lot of them are going to be really interesting. Wolf does hit really, really hard, but he is still technically considered as a medium character.
Yeah, I don't think he hits as hard as like Pyramithra or King DDD, really, and so...
It'll definitely be a little bit interesting to see how he decides to play it, especially because a lot of these guys don't have projectiles. I mean, DDD does with his Gordos, but anybody can hit his Gordos even without a Reflect. So it'll be...
If anything, the Reflect just gives him another option.
Yeah, the Reflect just gives him another option, but at the same time, DDD can hit it back as well, so it'll just turn into this game of like ping pong, just being shot back and forth at him. But at the same time, it should be interesting.
Yeah.
But it looks like it's going to be the Pyramithra pick into Wolf.
I'm not necessarily surprised by this. One of the heavier hitters, and with the speed, this could be a very devastating matchup for Wolf if he cannot get in and knock them out fast. As we do get ready to prep in here, both of them are ready to go and begin the brawl here as we see shielding in the middle. Pyramithra able to get the damage off first with Mithra going to the ledge, but dodging any potential ledge guard opportunities for Wolf.
Yeah, Pyramithra only taking 13% to Wolf's 41, but I say that and then Wolf starts giving out the damage. 55 now on Pyra, and Wolf is still sitting fairly pretty. Oh no, I really should stop talking about percentages and just call it as I see it, because
as you
these
say,
guys are just...
The more you say, the faster they go up.
Yeah.
93 to 83% here. Great parry from Wolf, is able to avoid some damage, but is not able to win the interaction there. 94 to 93, getting fairly even. Wolf using his ranged attack to get that chip damage that he definitely needs to help him just gain the edge in this combat.
Yeah, Wolf now up to 101. Both characters are in smash range. Pyra is now going out to do a bit of damage, but
there
Wolf
it goes.
is able to get the first stock off.
The classic spin to win move where he launches you into the air, gets the first stock off for his team with SJSU at 125.
Yeah, spin to win, Dance Dance Revolution style, but Pyra comes back out, swamp to Mithra, trying to find a kill on this Wolf, but he is just not going down no matter what they throw at him. Pyra's gone now, going for more of Mithra's speed, but Wolf is at 150% and still has not been sent that far off the stage. He is still putting on massive pressure.
149 to 86 here. Wolf is in a dangerous position, but is still dealing so much damage to the Pyramithra team right now. They have to be very careful with getting thrown off the ledge. This is an opportunity, but with their sword, they're able to back him off and deny him from charging up any powerful attacks. However, they are going to take some more projectiles.
What a
and
ledge guard.
into the read there, going to be knocked out 1 to 3.
What a ledge guard out of Wolf, still staying at 3 stocks. Pyramithra down to their last 50% already. This Wolf is not playing any games, but then he just takes his own stock. He's
not able to succeed the recovery there. Just a little bit too short for his up B to recover.
But even then, even with that said, 64% on Pyramithra before taking anything on his next stock is nothing to scoff at. Wolf now up to around 30%, but he's still piling on damage. But Pyramithra is starting to play it a little bit slower, play it a little bit farther away, just waiting for the opportunity to strike.
77 to 57 here. Projectiles from Wolf, using that to his advantage to move Pyramithra towards the ledge, but it doesn't quite work out in the way he wants it to, and so they go back to the center for the brawl, dodging what could have been a devastating amount of damage, going to jump in towards Pyra, but isn't able to connect, going back to that range damage. 114 to 82, really looking for that potential knockout zone. You can see it in his eyes, and with that, able to throw them off ledge and get the stock, creating the first real 2-stock lead that's kind of occurred here.
Yeah, this is the highest lead we've seen all night long. This Wolf just did a really good job at preventing any really big attacks from taking him down any stocks. I honestly think without that SD that came at the end of Wolf's third stock, he might have actually been able to 3-stock this one. He was just playing it really, really safe, really, really well, and just being able to deal that much damage in a short amount of time played to his strengths.
His ranged attack to get that chip damage that he definitely needs to help him just gain the edge in this combat. Now you can see that one grab was pretty devastating, but he was able to get around it and just time his shield perfectly for that knockout combo. I mean, honestly, one of those moments where you talk about just slowing down and thinking about what you're doing. If you take that moment to breathe and realize this is my my win condition, then you can win.
This
pretty
is the
easy.
moment.
I mean, win condition, you win.
Yeah. If you can take advantage of it, it is a very easy win. But that spike that we saw off of Wolf on the edge was incredible. I wasn't expecting that out of him.
I didn't think it was going to knock her out.
Yeah, I didn't realize it hit that far. I thought it was more close range than that. I would have figured if it would have hit, it would have knocked her out. But, I mean, obviously it did. But, I mean, I wouldn't have thought it would have hit in the first place, which is kind of surprising. But it just goes to show how powerful Wolf can be in the right context. He just hits really hard. He hits from a ways away. And he's pretty survivable on top of that.
Yeah. You know what's also interesting about this current matchup? We were talking right now about how we were kind of watching the opposite of what we saw previously, but now, for the first time, this will be a character playing in multiple, like, more than 2 matches here, as Wolf has been able to hang on through both of them.
Yeah. Now we're going to see the Ludwig come out. Instead of first, he's going to be close to the last time, this time. Just checking out how all their buttons are working before we get started, waiting for the taunt. But I would like to see how Ludwig plays into this, since he is kind of like Snake in he's a really, really ranged-based character. And he does a lot of stuff that Snake does. Like, he does his cannonball, he has bombs, and he can also do a ton of damage up close if you're not careful.
Yeah, the brawl begins, and Ludwig takes a lot of damage there, getting grabbed by Wolf and thrown off the ledge, not getting the immediate opportunity to really get onto the stage here, as he does now get to the platform, but after taking 73% damage.
Oh yeah, taking 73, but quick to return 47. Oh no, 67 right back to him. But now Wolf is kind of on the back foot, trying to get back on the stage and back into an advantageous position.
95 to 83, Wolf getting launched into the air, having to dodge all the projectiles. He's able to grab the cart, but gets launched the other direction, and now at 118%, starting to have to be very careful from these heavy-hitting attacks here.
Yeah, Ludwig is kind of a deceptive character. You wouldn't expect him to hit as hard as he does, but he really can. Out goes the up tilt, and by one of Wolf's stocks. He does get taken up another 10%, but Ludwig is still in KO range. All Wolf needs to do is find 1 kill, and he can keep their lead. There goes the spin to win move, unable to find a kill this time, but Ludwig is in a very bad spot. Out goes the forward air. Bye-bye Ludwig, down 1 stock, and SJSU keeps their lead. Now the question is, will Ludwig bleed any more stocks before he's able to take one of Wolf's?
Or will Wolf be able to knock him out completely? As we see, he is gunning for any possible opportunity, dodging the cart and trying his best to not get launched by any attacks. 61 to 15 is still a pretty fair place to be if you want to take another stock or maybe 2.
Yeah, out goes Wolf with the combos in the air, taking a ton of percent on Ludwig. Able to dodge the bomb this time, which he wasn't able to do in the last stock, which is gonna save him a lot of percent.
You live and you learn, right?
Oh yeah. Wolf is able to get he's getting a lot better grabs than Ludwig has this whole game. And he's also been able to keep him off, even though they are at around similar percents. If he's able to get this 1 stock off of Ludwig, oh no, he's not able to. Ludwig is able to reduce the lead to 1 stock, but he's still reduced to 2 stocks of his own.
Kind of a taste of his own medicine in his preferred kind of knockout of stocks. Ludwig is able to flip the script on him and try to even up the matchup a little bit more in their favor, though they still have that 1 stock deficit they will have to climb through. And with the way that the Spartans were able to kind of take that away from them originally, they now kind of have this opportunity for like revenge, that they had the advantage in the beginning and bring it back.
Oh yeah, SJSU has taken a lot of advantages and made them and just kind of exemplified them. Like looking at this Wolf playing in this round, he was able to take what seemed like a disadvantage here, being 2 to 3, and just not quite widen the lead, but keep the lead for just long enough that the next player isn't going to have as much stress on them going into the next round. Even a 1 stock lead, like I was talking about earlier, is way better than being at a deficit. And this Wolf being able to keep it was one of the best things he could do for his team. That
1 knockout is so crucial and is going to give them a lot of room to breathe with going forward, especially considering that this is their opportunity to bring the game to match point potential, which is something they would most certainly want, because after all, that's how you win. That's how you get your Champions badge for the 2024 Fall Mountain West Conference here. And as we're getting ready to set up, Bowser Jr. will have to go up against either a familiar foe in Shulk or a potential Inkling, which I wouldn't be shocked if the Shulk comes out. It worked fairly well last time, after all.
Yeah, I think the Shulk comes out first, just because of Inkling being the anchor in the last round and how well they did against Snake. I think that Shulk, knowing a little bit more about how the Ludwig will play into his advantages just a little bit more. He knows what's going to come out. He sort of has an idea of what's going on, and I think he knows how to press the advantage when he gets it.
Yeah, and I think that overall, too, when you look at the matchups, leaving Inkling for any potential cleanup on DDD or Ludwig, depending on how they choose to play, that could be a really good spot to be, because, DDD is so massive, it's a perfect target to try and use the mechanic of the ink buildup.
Oh, yeah, especially because the more damage, like we were talking about earlier, the more ink you have on you, the more damage you take. And with a heavy character that needs to be at such a high percent in order to be knocked out, anything that allows you to get more and more percent for every single attack is invaluable to the player who's trying to take you out. And Inkling would have the best shot at taking out DDD a lot quicker if they are the one anchoring.
Yeah, and also, Shulk gets the benefit of, the buffs, too. So, although Inkling is a very fast, and good, agile character, Shulk just has the benefit of, man, that car really sucks. I'm going to be giving myself the jump buff so I can jump over this and not deal with it. Because, that was kind of one of his most devastating moves that he was using consistently, was activating the RC mode, moving in.
Oh, we were both wrong.
Well,
out goes the Inkling.
Out goes Inkling to be the contester for Ludwig here, as he's going to go ahead and reset to 2 stocks for this matchup.
I guess we didn't have an inkling of what was going to be picked.
Oh, you can't see me on screen right now, but that was we'll call that a good one. We'll call that a good one.
I'm sure the production room is rolling their eyes right now.
14 to 63% as we jump into the match up here. 86 to 15, 97. Inkling not really able to break through just yet. Starting to gain some momentum here with the bomb creating some space for them and a combo into the air. Kind of how they want to play the game right now. Don't let Ludwig kind of run away with it. And
oh,
there it is!
The paint roller!
Paint roller out and plenty of ink on the ground. Inkling is able to now gain the percentage advantage, 113 to 106.
Yeah, and now looking at Ludwig, he's going to be taking even more damage from those attacks. Inkling already at 123%, though, in a very dangerous spot. Oh, yeah, and there goes Inkling tying it up 2-2. But Ludwig is still at 113%. This is far from over for Ludwig quite yet.
113 to 0% is a dangerous spot to be. We can see for Ludwig here with the ink being spread on the ground, giving some extra room for Inkling here. However, using that just fast speed of the cart mode is going to be a good advantage here. As we can see, it has been helping just avoid any potential dangerous attacks that Ludwig does not want to take, because it could mean a knockout.
Yeah, the car has an increased priority compared to the paint roller, but there goes Ludwig, unable to get around it this time, down to 1 stock. Inkling does have the advantage here, but if Ludwig is able to get 2, he can tie it up pretty easily for the next person as we move into the next round. But from the looks of things, both players are kind of struggling to find any sort of damage right now. Inkling does get a few hits onto Ludwig, bringing it up to around even, but with Ludwig having 1 less stock to work with, Inkling does have a little bit more of an advantage in this situation.
48 to 60%. The percentages haven't gone up much, but the mind games continue, trying to figure out where someone's going to be and the best way to hit. Both players are looking for their opportunity for a combo here. As Ludwig jumps away from the ink roller once again. Ink roller being a very effective way to shut down the speedy moves of this Inkling, but not for long, as dodging the edge guard, he's able to knock them down and bring them to 1 stock. Wow!
What a play out of the Ludwig, just being able to get up and go down. I didn't even know you could do that, to be honest. But Inkling does get the grab on him. Is this going to spell the end for Ludwig? No, it's not. He's able to come back. Inkling now on the defensive, trying to find a spot to get in to kill Ludwig. Wow. There it goes. Up B allows for Inkling to take the final stock, keeping the 1 stock lead, but bringing Hawaii down to their last player.
And now it is up to the anchor for the Rainbow Warriors of Hawaii University if they want to be able to continue forward and be able to deny any chance of this match point for the Spartans. It is definitely going to be a rough challenge, but 4 stocks is not the smallest amount that someone could be, like, not the worst amount of stocks to be able to like try and take, especially for a DDD.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Taking a little bit of a look at what we saw in this previous matchup here, this is the first stocks that we were watching back and forth.
Yeah, just heavy attacks out of Ludwig are kind of unexpected. You never really expect characters like him to attack as hard as they do, or have such like high frequency attacks, like the car mode, for instance, as well as like the the boxing gloves that come out of his car as well. They just do a ton of damage that you wouldn't really expect them to do. Also, Ludwig having a little bit more priority when it comes to his car compared to Inkling's paint roller makes it a little bit more difficult for you to cancel out those attacks.
Oh, yep, and we see the second roller come out, and this was the spot where, realistically, Inkling had it in the bag. Everything was for them, but with the eject from the car giving Ludwig just that opportunity and the iframes he needed to kind of sneak around, he was able to turn that from what should have been probably a deserved win for Inkling into a knockout.
Yeah, kind of... just making it a little bit easier for the last player on his team. Of course, it won't be easy, but it's a lot easier than going into 5 stocks. Inkling does have the ability here to put a lot of pressure onto this next player. From the looks of things, they're going to be playing King DDD, and like we were talking about earlier, having that ability to deal even more damage to a heavy character is invaluable. So even taking 1 stock is going to put the Spartans so much further ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it essentially takes the advantage of being a heavy character, which is you're heavier, so you take, like, damage doesn't affect you as much, and removes it by using a damage multiplier, which then turns you into just a normal character.
But we're not going to see the DDD at all.
We're going to see a complete swap out, it looks like, from our players. Different character, different player, Young Link.
All right, we're going to see these guys trying to get all their buttons ready to go, but from the looks of things, they're going to be playing a little bit more of a projectile-based character into the into Inkling. I don't know why I spaced on the character name there for a minute.
Young Link, yeah.
But yeah, having Young Link is just a really good pick just because you can do arrows, you can throw boomerangs, you can throw bombs. There's just so much variety that you can do, and it's just so much on screen that you have to keep track of as the opponent.
And it'll give a little bit of a harder time to Inkling, who just will not be able to get as many of those combos off as easily, kind of similarly to how Snake is able to use projectiles. Young Link can do the same, and we see that right now. 56 damage, on 62 onto Inkling here, and 27 onto Link.
Yeah, already up to 89% on the Inkling, now at a really reasonable KO range. Inkling needs to find a way to get a lot more damage up if they want to be able to stay in this and maybe take a stock for the next player. And from the looks of things, they're doing a pretty good job at it, keeping themselves in the game, up to 71% for the Young Link. But at the same time, getting hit by that combo is not good at all. Young Link is able to take the stock, bringing it back to even.
Yeah, denying any chance of a potential deficit in this final matchup. Young Link is able to take it for their team and bring it down to the final 2 players, which could be Shulk versus Young Link, Sword Fighter protagonist versus Sword Fighter protagonist.
Yes, and video game protagonists at that too. And it should be a really good game. This should be a really good matchup. You have Young Link, who's really good at spamming projectiles and being able to just get so much value out of things that don't really do all that damage, but when paired together, they do a ton. And then you have Shulk, who can hit from a little bit farther away and can also boost a lot of the stuff in his kit. So it just will come down to who uses their abilities a little bit better. And in the end, it should be a game to remember.
Yeah. I do think, though, that there's a chance that we could see a swap up here from Gustav off of Shulk. I don't think it's likely, but there is potential as he is comfortable with other characters like, say, Pokemon Trainer, which might be something to consider considering. Yeah. Great verbiage tonight. With just the way that Shulk goes up against Young Link, he does not have really a lot of ranged options, but the Pokemon Trainer does have that option within Bulbasaur and Squirtle.
Yeah, he does have a lot more ranged options when it comes to Pokemon Trainer, but at the same time, there's also a lot more chances for you to get stunned out of a lot of your attacks. The thing is about Young Link is he can put on so much damage, so much pressure, that if you don't have the ability to get out of it, you don't have the ability to get out of those combos, you're pretty much done for no matter if you have a ranged option or not. So having Shulk being able to maybe cut through a few of those combos might be a little bit better in this scenario. But I do see where the Pokemon Trainer would come in handy if you're able to just shut down the Young Link early.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see where the determiner will be for this, as this is going to be the second map, or I guess the second set of the Mountain West champions for Super Smash Bros. 2014, and will be the determiner for which team is going to be able to come into this and get the match point first, because this is kind of how they set the pace. They are the ones who say, if you don't beat us next time, we will win. And so it goes from, you know, there's obviously pressure. It goes from having some pressure to every little bit of pressure that could possibly be on your back. You start carrying the world because it is your last chance, your last opportunity, and anyone who, you know, is in it to win it is not going to be feeling good.
Yeah, and all that pressure can kind of, and it'll also mount on you too. It can turn you from a really good player to a nervous wreck, and it makes things a lot harder to sort of play around. And every single mistake can pile up, and it just makes you feel a little bit worse about your gameplay. But that's why mental fortitude is so important in games like these. But we are going to see the Shulk pick and not the Pokemon Trainer just jumping straight into this final match, since neither team had a stock lost. Shulk already down 15%, but now he's getting ready to go right up in there, right up into the Young Link's face, getting a ton of damage off. Both characters are around the same percentage.
Great guard there from Shulk, allowing him to avoid some devastating damage, keeping the percentages fairly similar just at this current moment. 36-15. Both teams really just looking for their opportunity and openings here and trying to avoid any of those buffs being too devastating on the Young Link side.
Yeah, Shulk has done a good job at staying away from all the Young Link projectiles, but at the same time, he's still getting hit by a ton of them. But Young Link is just barely able to recover back onto stage. That could have been devastating in an early lead for Shulk, but now he's off the stage once again. Can he recover? No, he can't, but neither can Shulk. Oh, just barely.
That could have been a devastating moment for Young Link, but both of them are going to be essentially reset to the start of the game.
Yeah, now it's 2-2, 12-6 for the Shulk player, 31 now. Can he find the same success he did in the first stock, but of course not SDing in the process.
41-44, staying close in percentages and knocking the Rainbow Warriors off the ledge. Although he's able to get through the ledge guard, they still have to be very careful here, not wanting to take too much damage before they can get their opportunity win condition in for the character. 71-41 here. With the speed, well, with the power increased now, they'll have to be careful as that damage could be devastating for Young Link.
Yeah, Shulk is just able to do so much damage in a 360-degree range. Young Link already at 89%. Like, watch his aerial attacks. He can pretty much attack in 180 degrees, but there goes Young Link, unable to recover from a really good attack out of Shulk. Now Shulk does have the advantage, and Young Link is just trying to make any amount of space for him to work with.
59-6% here. Young Link has the potential to take another stock, but it has to be very careful because all this damage is the last opportunity. There's no coming back from this to be able to take this matchup here. 80-14. Shulk looking for some opportunities with the jump to give him a little bit of an extra boost, but it runs out before he can really capitalize on it.
Ooh, out goes the speed upgrade, trying to get around the Young Link's abilities, just trying to get up and close to him and not allow him to do anything. He's done a great job at that so far, but now he's up in the air. Young Link has plenty of time to set up. He catches the bomb and just does not allow Young Link even an inch to work with. Oh, but there goes the down air, bringing it back to 1-1. Young Link does still have the disadvantage here, not just because he is a lot higher in percentage, but he still does have the chance, if he is allowed to set up in any capacity, to take this Shulk down to just about nothing.
83-7%. Shulk still has the advantage here, puts him on the ledge. This could be a dangerous spot, but he is able to shield the charge attack there, avoiding what could have been the knockout move and put him on the back foot here.
Wait, Young Link is just barely able to come back up from that. That could have been devastating for him, but now Shulk is being put on the back foot, 108% to 86. Can he find a way to get that final stock off on this Young Link to put his team up to match point?
What started at a comfortable position turns into a potential knockout, but he is able to avoid it at 142% to 86. He just got a taste of what his future could be if he isn't able to knock him out. And with that, Young Link is able to confirm the knockout, not enough for that previous fake out there, and Hawaii is going to take it.
Hawaii now at match point. The next round will be the make or break for San Jose. If they do not win this next round, Hawaii will win it all and send them home. Or I guess they're playing on land, so they're already home, but in a figurative sense. Or not on land, they're playing online.
Yeah, in a figurative sense, ending their season with not the championship title that they may want here, and they are not going to let the Spartans kind of run away with it at this point as they are preparing for this next matchup. But while we are getting ready for that, we're going to take a quick break to see, will this be match point or will they be able to come back from this? Devastating on the Young League side.
Yeah, Shulk has done a good job of staying away from the at the same time. He's still getting hit by the top.
welcome back to the Boise State Esports Arena as we continue our coverage of the Super Smash Bros. Mountain West Championship to claim the title of the 2024 Fall Champion between Hawaii University and San Jose State University. Calling all the action, my name is Audrey Norris with Bryce Jensen as we see if this match point that we are currently seeing ourselves at with the Rainbow Warriors at 2 and the Spartans at 1 will be the end of the run for the Spartans, or if they'll be able to come back from this and bring it all the way to the final game.
You know, I think that the Spartans do have a shot to bring this back. It does look a little bit bleak for them right now, being down 1 in the matchup. However, they were able to put on a pretty significant round 1 against Hawaii. And even in the last round against them, they did really, really well up until the end. They just had some unfortunate stuff come up. I think they made a few mistakes during the round, which allowed Young Link to kind of pull out ahead against Shulk. So I do think that they do have a shot in order to bring this to a to a round 5. But I do think if Hawaii makes the same, does everything they did last time, and the Spartans don't correct their mistakes, there's a good shot that Hawaii runs away with it this round.
Yeah, I mean, we saw what also looked like there was a surprising kind of mixture of upsets in the last set that we watched too. We started with a Hawaii lead that turned into a Spartan lead, and as we had seen in the previous set, when the Spartans got the lead, they were able to keep it very handily the entire time. But in this case, Hawaii took it from them at the end. They denied them and were able to take all 4 stocks and keep going. So I think it's going to be a just very dangerous game for the Spartans to play if they are not careful with Hawaii in this fight, what could be finals match.
Yeah, they just need to find those stocks. That's what they sort of struggled with towards the end of the last round. Like, we saw it with the Inkling into Young Link. The Inkling just wasn't able to find that stock that they needed in order to keep up the advantage. If Shulk had that extra one less stock to work with on the Young Link, I think there was a really good chance that the Spartans ran away with the last round. However, Inkling just wasn't really able to find anything. It's kind of a hard matchup between the two of them because Young Link is a little bit faster, can do a bit more damage, and just has an overall better set of projectiles. But if Young Link was able to find that stock, they probably would have won it.
Yeah. You know, if anything, I am happy to know that my thought that, we might see a character change ended up being true, and a complete player change to just kind of swap up what was going on, which just can end up working out in the favor of players, as you're moving forward. If you are working through it and you just decide, this character's not working the way that we want them to, and swapping it out, it changes the pace. And that ended up being to the benefit of Hawaii that time around.
Surprise, child.
Surprise! Young Link, he's here to brawl. And I mean, it ended up working out in his favor. So they'll have to see if they can continue that momentum forward, especially because they were able to come back from what could have been a very rough spot. And it looks like we're going to have a little bit of a return to form for this matchup. Duck Hunt versus Snake to start us off.
You ever get a feeling of deja vu?
Yeah, right now, exactly. As we get ready to jump in. Were we on Pokemon Stadium too, or a different map?
I want to say that we were on Pokemon Stadium, but no, we were on regular Battlefield with 3 platforms, so it was a little different.
So not full deja vu, but we're still there. So yeah. 21-0 here, as Snake gets the first couple attacks onto him. Now Duck Hunt getting ready to, well, actually not even really supposed to have percentage. I think he just chose that.
Yeah, no one's really been able to get an advantage here. No one's really been shoved off of their spots that they would like to be at. I'm not sure if they're still...
I think they're still testing. I believe they're going to do a reset because he took damage, if I had to guess, because he gave himself damage with the grenade. So
yeah,
as we get ready for the reset, I don't know. What do you think they're going to play? We could never guess what characters.
I don't really know. I think they're going to bring out an Olimar. But yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, they really like the throw everything in the kitchen sink, and I mean that's pretty much what Olimar is.
We're getting a surprise visit from the Boise State Olimar player to join the the subs for in the last moment here. Just throw out the Olimar. I don't think they have anyone who plays Olimar, so. Surprise!
Well, that means it's even more of a surprise. They've been working on it behind the scenes.
Ooh, they have no idea it's there as they get ready to set up for this match and kind of reset here. Yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll see. Maybe we won't see Snake. I mean, I doubt it, but Yeah,
all that watching all the previous ones is not going to do anything if you just pull out a completely different character.
All right, getting right back into the match, as you'll never guess, Duck Hunt versus Snake. Rainbow Warriors versus the Spartans getting ready to set up and set the precedence for what could be the final match if Hawaii is able to take it from SJSU here. As we get right into the matchup, Duck Hunt already taking some damage from Snake, but he is able to get some projectiles off, but not as many as he would want.
Whoa, Snake is doing a lot better at keeping those projectiles up, and Duck Hunt is just not even getting any room to breathe. All of his bean cans are exploding in his face, and he's just unable to find a spot to where he can get everything set up. You were talking about it earlier, how Duck Hunt takes a little bit longer to set all of his traps than Snake does, and Snake is using that to his advantage in this matchup.
116 to 14 here. Actually, no, 130. Already, we can see a huge deficit in the amount of damage that is being able to be thrown out here, as Duck Hunt cannot really seem to make much of a dent against these players.
Whoa, already up to 169%. Any attack out of Snake might spell this Duck Hunt's undoing, but now he's starting to get a few things out. He might be able to get something done here. Snake up to 28%. It's more than it was a little bit ago. And as long as Duck Hunt can do something, but he's launched into the air 180%, he is almost done. As long as he can stay away from Snake and maybe just dodge a few more of his attacks, he might have something going on here. But from the looks of things, it's going to be a really uphill battle if he wants to take this first stock.
191 to 28, getting close to that 200 marker. Impressive once again to see from a character that really doesn't have a lot of weight behind him here. 58 to 191, not knowing that any real attack could be the end of this stock here. Duck Hunt has to play this as carefully as possible. 75, slowly managing to add some damage onto Snake's platform here, but just not enough yet. As he is going to get knocked out after coming out of a roll.
But after taking 88% on Snake, that's fairly impressive. He was able to do a ton of damage in a really short amount of time just by controlling the map just a little bit more. Snake has not really been able to get back into a rhythm that he was in earlier, not just being able to get all of his attacks out and about. But now Duck Hunt is firmly in control of this map. He has all of his explosives out and significantly less percent. Snake is on the back foot here.
133 to 10%. He does have the advantage of percentage, but not of stocks anymore. And to take any more damage before knocking out Snake's stock could be devastating. I see he's looking for his opportunities, but Snake, using his shields, is very accurately able to avoid any significant damage right now.
Yeah, Snake is trying to reset all of his dynamite, or not his dynamite, his C4, just so he can maybe get something else done here. Duck Hunt is not giving him an inch, though. Already up to 170. This is like the opposite of what happened earlier. Already up to high percentages, and stop. There goes Snake. Unable to get past 20% on the Duck Hunt. Looks like Duck Hunt is finally starting to find himself in this matchup.
20% to 33. Duck Hunt now gaining some momentum at being able to stay on the field and set himself up, bringing Snake to 86%. Though Snake is not going to stand for that, taking a couple hits off and forcing him to really consider where he wants to be on ledge. Now 86 to 75.
Yeah, what a good up smash out of Snake, being able to take out Duck Hunt from above him. But it doesn't really matter when you can't get to the ground to do anything else. You're just stuck in the air and on those platforms where you can't really do anything but be at the mercy of this dog and his bean cans.
137 to 75. Is able to hold the advantage, but Snake is really holding on here. Just watching and very carefully moving there, getting a roll off. The RPG, my goodness. Look at that. With that tracked shot there, he is able to take another stock from Duck Hunt and hold on to his own.
I think I can only count the amount of times he's used that RPG on one hand, but it has been instrumental in some of these kills. He's just done a really good job at saving it for the right time, and I feel like Duck Hunt almost forgets it exists, which allows him to kind of surprise him, which allows for a lot of good plays out of Snake. But now he's on the back foot, 193% to Duck Hunt's 40. He needs to find a way back onto this ledge so he can get control of this game back.
Ooh. With that, though, Snake goes over 200, and he's able to get a solid hit off, bringing it 1-1. 51% onto Duck Hunt, however, and that does put him on the back foot here. With the projectiles going out, Snake is able to use the bouncing effect of his grenades to get them a little bit farther here. and just kind of look for his opportunity, knocking Duck Hunt into the air. Now he does not have as many options as he really wants.
Yeah, now that Snake has a little bit more control of the map, he's got the C4 on the one side, and now he's being able to throw a lot of those grenades. He can't really, Duck Hunt really can't get anywhere without the threat of being blown to smithereens. 62% to fit 22. Snake has not really been able to find very much damage, but neither has Duck Hunt. They're kind of locked in this battle of attrition that we saw in the last round that they played as well. They're just trying to figure out who is going to get hit by what first, and it's all going to come down to who ends up taking the most damage, I believe.
Yeah, 75 to 22, and unfortunately, if it is a numbers game here, Duck Hunt is already losing at 99%. With so many explosives going out, Snake is not letting him get anywhere near him right now. 22 to 99, avoiding all the abilities as best he can, getting under the ledge that Duck Hunt has been preferring. They get into the brawl, but it doesn't really go anywhere for either of them, trading damage back and forth here.
Yeah, Duck Hunt, though, at 122% is in range to die to just about anything. He is playing a dangerous game, but we've seen both players go up to almost 200% before. So this is still a very winnable game for Duck Hunt as long as he can get control and play it a little bit, and just play it a little bit safer than Snake is.
133 to 92%. This is a very precarious spot for both players as they look for their opportunities here. 145 on a Duck Hunt means he could be knocked out very quickly if not careful. As we continue to play the grenades and just everything in the middle here, looking for potential opportunities for the ledge guard, but he's not going to commit immediately. Now, once again, 158, Duck Hunt holding strong as Snake uses his shield to just weather all the blows.
Yeah, that shield is really coming in handy against Duck Hunt. Just nothing is really able to connect and do the damage he wants. Out comes the grenade, doing a ton of damage to Duck Hunt. Can he manage a way to get to capitalize on this? I don't know why I can't speak. 180 now for Duck Hunt. He is in a very precarious situation. He either needs to do a ton of damage really quick, or or just dodge everything in hopes of staying in this game for just a little bit longer.
Yeah, 180 to 118. The stakes are high for both players. This is one of the first times I've really seen a match go this long. You know, we talk about how you really only have 10 minutes. We're at the 3-minute marker. This 7-minute brawl.
Ooh, Duck Hunt almost with the shield break. That could have been the end for him, but he just barely gets it out with the back air from Snake, taking Duck Hunt down. And after 7.5 minutes, we have crowned a winner in this first round. Snake bringing the Rainbow Warriors up 1.
I think that's one of the longest matches we've seen so far. I mean, 7 minutes, that was a battle of attrition, really.
Oh, yeah. It was a back and forth slugfest. Both players being up at almost 150%. I'd say that was around the medium. But wow, that was a long match.
If anything, it's like, I just thought it was interesting to watch how both players essentially just were like, well, I like the left side, I like the right side, and then the middle ground was just explosion after explosion after explosion.
It was just a battlefield the entire time. But this play, Snake at 177, I'm surprised he lasted as long as he did at this high a percent, especially against Duck Hunt.
Yeah, I mean, we're watching right here. Duck Hunt has good control of the middle, but Snake able to very carefully avoid any ledge guard, but then the can, with Duck Hunt being able to see that he's going to get near, he was able to activate it and cause the explosion that he wanted, which did take the stock. But here at the end, you know, as I was talking about, that middle ground full of explosion after explosion after explosion.
Yeah, Duck Hunt almost lost his shield there too, which both players kind of relied on really heavily in order to sort of weather the explosions that were just coming out from both sides. And if he would have broken that shield, it would have been over just a little bit quicker, but Snake still managed to edge out the victory there.
And I mean, hey, if you don't have a reflect, which you never know what that's going to be like, but it looks like we're going to jump in fast here to this next lineup, Inkling versus Snake.
I'm surprised they're not bringing out the Wolf. That's kind of been their go-to against the Snake player, but
I wouldn't be shocked if they don't want to be caught out in the open with a potential instant attack from like a Young Link into the Inkling here, which Wolf might have a better chance against, and Inkling is very good against Snake as we've seen in the past, so we'll have to see what the choice ends up being. Will it be a good matchup, or will they struggle to take the stocks that they need from this Snake?
it'll definitely be an interesting one for sure. I think Inkling does have the advantage on speed, but Snake can just do so much damage in such a little amount of time. It can
really be this one will be a really interesting match. As long as the Spartans are able to get Snake without losing any other stocks, they bring it back to an even ball game, and they are back in this race.
1% to 1%. Great start off for the little bit of chip damage. Both are getting off, and then Snake going right into the explosions, bringing Inkling to 31%.
Yeah, this one, I don't think this one's going to be as much of a war of attrition as the last one. Both players aren't just going to stick to their own side.
Inkling can throw the bombs if they really feel like it.
Well, I mean, the bombs aren't also half of their kit as well. So it'll make it a little bit more up in your face. So Snake is going to have to play this a little bit more cautious with his explosives, since they do hurt him as well. And while he may be getting a few hits onto the Inkling, the damage he takes on himself is nothing to scoff at.
45 to 53, especially at one stock with that damage. If you take a lot of damage from your own explosions, then you're just essentially doing the work for your opponent, which we can see here. He's taking some massive damage, bringing him almost even with Inkling, 79 to 87.
Yeah, brought right up to 99% by the Inkling. Snake is just unable to get to the ground on this one and set up a lot of his traps. Inkling is just too fast for him. He's unable to get up to where he'd want to be with all of his explosions, but both of them at 100%. They are at a dangerous range.
Oh!
And there he goes. Bye-bye, Snake with the bucket.
One just good read from that, and Inkling is able to tie it up once again, putting anybody's game, though we did see this happen for both teams. So it's not like, oh, yay, they've gotten the momentum, they could run with it. Hawaii could very well shut them down, just like the Spartans shut Hawaii down many times in the past.
Yeah, we are still at an even ball game at a 9-9 stock deal, and it makes it really interesting to see who they're going to put in against the Inkling next. I doubt they're going to throw in another heavy character, but at the same time, they don't really have a perfect answer to Inkling outside of maybe Young Link.
Yeah, Young Link was able to take one stock from Inkling, but that is not enough to see really where that match could end, especially on an even playing field here. As we jump into this match, yeah, it's just that one misinput from Snake that allowed the opportunity for the bucket to come out and the knockout to be achieved.
Yeah, that was a really good read out of the Inkling, just being able to know when to use that bucket. It's a really good ability, and it does a ton of damage, but it has so much end lag that if you miss, it's pretty much a free hit for your opponent. Not like a smash attack free hit, but definitely quite a bit of percent.
If someone knows what they're doing, they can definitely use that opportunity against you.
Oh, yeah. And that goes for almost every smash attack in the game, but the bucket does a ton of damage, but it will punish you if you miss, especially with Inkling, not Young Link, who requires ink for a lot of their more powerful smash attacks. If you miss, you're not only draining your resources, but opening yourself up.
Yeah, and as we get ready to see who the next person will be, I do think that there is potential for like a character like Ludwig to come out against Inkling, just because he is also very fast, and because of that, the speed of Inkling kind of gets diminished and has a harder time against it. And we did see that, I believe. Did we see that matchup?
Yeah, it was last round.
We've watched so many brawls at this point. Yep, there we go. That could be what they need to maybe counter the Inkling as well. So they might, I think if anything, Pyramithra also has the opportunity, but they might just be one of the ones that they want to keep in the back pocket for other characters.
Who would win, a Squid Kid or a car?
Well, we might find out very soon, depending on which character gets chosen by the Rainbow Warriors to continue their fight for the Mountain West championship.
Yes.
For this fall 2024 season.
2014, that was a long time ago now that I think about it. I think
old. That's when one of them started playing Smash Bros, which is why 2014 is ringing true in my brain.
I mean, 2014 was also the year the Rocket League came out, and we just finished with the finals for that as well.
There's a lot of 2014s in there.
Oh, wait, no, it was 14 years ago that it came out, so it would have been 2010.
There we go. We're getting there. We got there. We figured it out.
We got there in the end. Nothing to do with Super Smash Bros, but we got there.
I mean, it's relevant to our previous stream, as you know, this wasn't the only Mountain West Championship that was occurring today. Just earlier today, Rocket League was determining who the winner was going to be. So, you know, Mountain West themed at least.
Oh, yeah. But moving the topic a little bit more back towards Super Smash Bros. We were talking about who you think that they might show, like who they think you're going to show up. We did see Ludwig do really, really well against the Inkling, but he did end up losing 2 stocks to the Inkling, even if they did take them down.
I see King DDD back.
Oh, DDD might be. Maybe they'll bring out the DDD. You never know.
I mean, DDD hits very hard with the hammer, and although Inkling does have the advantage of he's a bigger target, therefore easier to hit, at the same time, the amount of damage that DDD might be able to do before they can really do anything about it might be what they need and might be what their kind of current decisions are going into this matchup.
It's almost like big stick diplomacy. I have a bigger stick, so that means I hit you harder.
Okay, but is the roller or the hammer bigger? Because the roller is definitely taller.
Yeah, I don't know. And plus, like, the roller does, like, the thing where it rotates upwards.
I mean, are we talking volume?
I mean, if
or are we talking height?
I think height, the roller wins, but in weight, I think the hammer would.
I think
because
the hammer.
It's pretty
well, I mean, the
big.
roller is metal.
Well, I mean, there's heavy wood.
Well, okay, it depends. If it's the carbon fiber one, then no, it's super lightweight.
It's carbon. Well, I mean, they are kids after all. I mean,
yeah, they
I don't know very many kids who can lift up a really big pole of metal.
So is this the matchup of big stick diplomacy? The real question is just, is it big stick as in who has the taller stick, or is it big stick in who has the heavier stick?
I would say it who has the bigger stick, so it's like a mix of both.
So I guess we'll get to find. I mean, we'll get to see which big stick is the better one. I guess
that's assuming they throw in the. Oh no, it is big stick diplomacy. Let's go. Oh, I love it when a silly conversation comes to fruition.
It works out. It worked out. All right, King DDD versus Inkling. I guess the battle of the big stick begins. We'll get to see who gains the momentum for their team in this what could be match point matchup for Hawaii versus San Jose State University.
All right, both players getting raring to go. And it looks like DDD isn't quite ready yet. He's got a few more things to try out.
Yep, making sure everything works, that they're comfortable with the latency of their abilities. And the brawl begins with Inkling instantly going to try and knock DDD into the air and deny any maneuverability.
Down goes DDD, but he's able to recover because he has a very good recovery. You never should underestimate a guy because he can do it. He can jump really, really high. He's got several jumps too.
He has like a Superman jump, yeah.
Yeah, he's got like a Kirby deal. And out goes the Inkling, trying to get a little bit more damage on. They're pretty even right now, all things considered. DDD up at 64 now at the wrong end of a Inkling combo. Inkling does still have to play it a little bit safer. Out goes the Gordo, reflected right back. DDD up to 92% and counting, but Inkling is still at 50%. Not a very good spot to be in if you get hit the wrong way.
113 to 65, Inkling putting on the damage and kind of maybe picking a greedy choice there to try and knock him out, but both of them with such good recovery were able to get out of the way before either of them got an SD. Roller goes out, but DDD shields, and so instead Inkling's going to grab them and knock them into the air, taking the first stock.
First stock of the round going to Inkling. Inkling is proving that you can do a ton of damage with the Ink multiplier that just goes out. Out goes the bomb, damaging Inkling, almost getting hit by the Gordo, which might have spelled doom, but luckily it just barely missed. Inkling does eventually get the grab on DDD, taking a little bit more damage, but DDD is doing a pretty good job of just staying away from it. Out comes the back air. Down goes Inkling, bringing it back to even stocks.
Going to throw Inkling off the ledge with the swallow, but it doesn't end up amounting to anything, so back to the middle the brawl goes. With the grenade flying out, Inkling is able to use that to get another grab onto DDD, and with that combo, get a lot of ink onto him as well, which could mean some grievous damage if DDD is not able to avoid it, which so far he does seem to be doing.
Yeah, DDD's done a really good job at both avoiding the Inkling's attacks as well as the Gordos they keep throwing at him. But Inkling has also done a good job of just keeping him in combos and away from that really big hammer. Now we're seeing Inkling taking a little bit more damage from DDD, but DDD is also almost at 100% right now, which is just where we saw him last time. Inkling taking him up to 120. Let's see what goes on here. Inkling almost getting a hit on that Gordo, but just barely getting hit, allowing DDD to hit the ground.
118 to 72, now 90%. Although Inkling is able to keep the lead on this stock, they have to be very careful here. 97 on to Inkling, gets the grab, great read with the shield, and another up aerial knockout, sending DDD all the way to the top of the screen once again.
Yeah, DDD is able to get the suction onto that splat bomb, taking it away from the Inkling and onto him. But there goes the Gordo plan that he was trying to do because of that splat bomb there. That opens up so much for Inkling to just run in and do stuff as long as they are able to block that Gordo. Because if DDD gets a hit on that, it can be really dangerous for someone so light.
117 to 9%. Although at a high percentage right now. Ooh, this grab could be deadly, but able to avoid it and stay in a pretty solid spot here, reflecting both DDD's attack and his Gordo back into him, dealing some decent damage and kind of using the ledge to their advantage to avoid a lot of attacks. This grab could be it, though, as DDD looks for a potential opportunity of knockout, putting that spike on the ledge. Now they can do nothing except lose a stock.
Wow, what a play out of DDD trying to just contain the Inkling here. But he is still at a disadvantage, down 35% compared to Inkling. But all he has to do is get a few hits, and then that is back to even. We see Inkling trying to get a few more hits in, DDD protecting his ledge, just trying to allow himself to get on with the Gordo, and he has yet to find a hit in this exchange.
74 to 0%. Inkling hanging on as best they can, but going to get hit by the Gordo they couldn't even really see from the
Comes the roller! The big stick diplomacy.
Wait, I just realized Inkling was destined to win the big stick diplomacy because they have 2 sticks. They have the paintbrush and the roller.
Oh, yes, they do.
2 to 1. That was going to win. Okay, we figured out the big stick argument.
You tape the sticks together, and then you have a bigger stick. I think I've broken my host. Oh, but back to a more serious note. The ability of Inkling to just take DDD and just put him into combos that he could not recover from was incredible, and honestly, probably the reason that they did so well. Just being able to take such a heavy character and put him into a spot where he is very uncomfortable and just taking way more damage than necessary is almost needed when you are playing against a character like DDD.
We see right here, too. I mean, that was that play early at the beginning where both of them, like, we knocked DDD off the side, and then Inkling was like, you know, I might be able to use something with this. And then when they weren't able to, just goes to show the good recovery of both opponents there, able to get back from what was an SD for 2 other characters earlier in the sets we've been watching.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of mistakes being made by characters when put into the same matchup, and now we get to see the opposite happening. Inkling just... This was a really good play out of DDD right here, just being able to use his kit to its fullest.
That is such a devastating thing. Like when when the Gordo gets stuck on ledge and you're off ledge, and you look at that, it's like, what are you supposed to do? It's like, come on, man, now I can't do anything. Like,
what do you expect me to do? I want to play the game.
Yeah,
I want to get back on the ledge.
It's a part of the package of how to prevent your opponent from playing the game, which is included with the just don't let them touch the ground. And Gordo's stuck on ledge.
I mean, it didn't really do all that much in the end. DDD did eventually fall last. The Inkling did have the last laugh in that one.
It did gain him a stock, though, which, as we've been talking about, it's nothing to sniff at if you can take a stock off of your opponent.
Oh, yeah. And now that the Inkling has to go into the next round, it kind of forces the the Rainbow Warriors to think of, do we want to go for an easy win against Inkling, or do we want to go for an easy win against whoever they put in?
And it looks like they're going to choose Ludwig as Inkling's next opponent to face off and try and take this next stock for the potential of evening up the numbers once again. You know, it wouldn't be a grand finals Smash Bros. If it wasn't this close back-to-back. I mean, we've seen matches where people go like 4-0, 3-0, or like a couple matches, but this close, every battle is just kind of a great showing of like how the skill of all of these players.
Oh yeah. Now with the pre-match all commenced up, looks like they're going to go into this matchup. Both characters kind of sizing each other up, seeing what they're going to try and do. Inkling unable to find a connect with that splat bomb, but Ludwig is quick to press the advantage back. Does take the first hit up to 27%, and now that he's inked, he's going to be taking a little bit more damage from the Inkling, which can be bad under certain scenarios.
27-0, Inkling dodging all of the attacks from Ludwig thus far, as he throws out his little buddy to try and help him create some space on the field, and throws it away once he decides it's not worth it. Has not been able to connect with Inkling, but Inkling sure is connecting with him, dealing 60% damage, bringing him up a considerable amount, but he is able to prevent a knockout from the Inkling there, but not knock out Inkling themselves yet.
Not quite yet, but I think Inkling learned a little bit more about how Ludwig plays after their last round. They are doing a little bit better at staying away, but of course they say that, and then they go up to 80%. This is getting even closer with every passing second. Ludwig is yet to really commit to anything outside of the bomb, but there goes the big roller, just barely not finding anything in time. Inkling already up to 100%, and Ludwig in a very easy spot to kill.
or in a very good spot to eliminate the Inkling.
92, 100%, 114. Inkling is not going down without a fight and a stock what they want, but Ludwig denies it, getting a shield off to knock out Inkling and bring it back 6-6.
That was a really close one. That one was brought really close. I honestly thought Ludwig was going to close that one out a little bit earlier with that ledge drop onto the Inkling. But at the same time, I'm sort of glad it didn't happen that way because we ended up getting a lot better of a matchup.
I mean, if anything, I thought Inkling was going to take a stock for a second there just because of how much damage they racked up on Ludwig and the advantage they had at that one point where they grabbed him and threw him into the air. But then Ludwig was just like, nope.
Nope, I'm going to do tons of damage, and you are dead
It's like,
now.
I'm going to shield, prevent you from comboing me, and then get off a really powerful attack. So ended up working out in their favor and bringing it down to the last two players for both teams.
Yeah, back to even playing field, and as we've seen several times before, this is still not determined. We still have no idea, no way of predicting who is going to win this one. Both of these teams have players that have come back from what seemed to be odds stacked against them, and honestly, I think that San Jose might have the advantage here because they get to pick into Bowser Jr. instead of the other way around.
It does give them the opportunity to take out a character with who they feel like will be most confident against them. And I mean, we've seen these matchups a little bit before. Shulk versus Ludwig was working out really well for them, so there is a chance that they're going to go in with the tried and true or bring out Wolf. I think the big thing, too, will be the matchup afterwards because we haven't seen Wolf really contest so far Pyramithra, and we haven't really seen a ton of Shulk fighting Pyramithra either. So if anything, Ludwig will be a big thing, but if they manage to get past him, it'll be it might actually be who's next.
Yeah, it'll be a matchup that we haven't seen before one way or another. Even if Wolf does manage to get the pick, he will go up against Bowser Jr. We haven't seen that before. Wait, have we? I don't think we have.
I don't believe so, but
we are not going to see it. We're not going to see it quite
yet. The tried
yet.
and true Shulk versus Ludwig.
All right, this should be a good matchup. We saw this, I think the last time we saw this was the first round.
Yeah, this is the first set, first round special, Shulk versus Ludwig. Both at full stocks, just going to prepare, and when they're ready, taunt to begin this matchup. We'll have to see if this will go the same way it has for the Spartans, or if the Rainbow Warriors will have learned from these matchups before and be able to take the win off of Shulk.
I mean, if Young Link figured out fairly quickly on how to deal with Shulk, and I think after seeing how the Shulk sort of plays for so long, they have a really good shot at figuring this out. I say that, though, and Shulk does get the first few attacks onto Ludwig, which may put him in a little bit of an odds position here. There goes Shulk down to 22%, but the shield boon coming out, Ludwig piling on the damage, just not giving Shulk even a second to breathe.
As they continue the brawl here, 67-38, Ludwig starting to gain the numbers advantage, using what they've learned from those matchups, knowing what he likes to avoid. Not using the car mode as often, but still using it to get some distance here. Shulk able to get a couple attacks off as well as get the Buster buff out. Now 92-49. It's going to be a rough spot for Ludwig here as the shield is going to help him a little bit with his defenses, but he's now at 100, so it could be the start of a knockout combo.
Yeah, this could be the downfall of the first stock for Shulk, but at the same time, Ludwig is yet to connect after hitting 100%, or connecting really big, I should say. He just got hit by a car. But Ludwig has done a pretty good job of staying away from a lot of the bigger attacks from Shulk and keeping Shulk on the edge of his seat, just trying to stay away from a lot of the big heavy hitting attacks of Ludwig. But at the same time, neither have really gotten a really big attack in quite a while.
114 to 62%, now 131. As we were talking about, there it is. And Shulk's knockout of their first stock is done. 3-2 in Ludwig's favor now.
Yeah, 62% though is nothing to scoff at for Shulk. He is in a really good position to do a lot of damage, but there goes Ludwig already up to 24% on Shulk. He just needs to play it a little bit safer away from a lot of Ludwig's combos. He's just got this ability to do a ton of damage in a really short amount of time if Shulk is not careful. And also, Shulk has the ability to use a lot of Ludwig's attacks against him as well, like those Mecha Koopas that he's throwing out that do explosives, that are basically explosives. But looks like Shulk is unable to get to the Ludwig, and he just pulled the same thing he did on Inkling to sneak out that one stock, I think, last round.
but now he just needs to find a way to even out the odds.
86 to 79, getting very close to another potential stock loss for either of them, but Logan has been able to hold strong and continue to deal damage to Schultz, bringing him up to 90%, now putting him on the back foot once more. This is a rough spot for him to be as he pulls out Smash to deal some more damage, bringing him to 99%. Now watching on this ledge, he knows that the ledge recovery is nigh, and he is not able to deny him.
Yeah, out comes the speed out of Schultz, hoping to outspeed the Ludwig, but both players at around the same percentages now. They are both at a very good spot to kill. Out goes Ludwig with the up smash, up another stock. Schultz quick to return the favor, bringing the stock lead to only 1. But this is still a very advantageous spot for Ludwig. Even if he does lose one more stock here, he still has the knowledge of knowing that he has got one more stock to work with for the next one. And Schultz is putting a little bit more pressure on him.
56 to 44, now 57. Ludwig still with the advantage, even despite the damage percentage disadvantage here. With Smash out, he'll have to be careful if he doesn't want to take too much more damage, but with this quick swap arounds, he does have some room to work with. His speed is not going to be working out in Schultz's favor here. Now at 96, 97%. Ludwig is looking for another potential knockout here.
Big damage out of the Ludwig combos. Schultz needs to find a way to get this back to an even ball game, but if he keeps taking damage like that, Ludwig might just run away with this with 2 extra stocks. Ludwig is also not looking very quick to press on the advantage. He's just waiting for his opportunity to strike, and Schultz is quick to take any opportunity he can, but it's not, it does not matter. He gets hit by a car, which closes out this round. Ludwig putting the Rainbow Warriors up 2 stocks heading in to the final round.
And with that, not only have they put themselves in an advantage for this final round, but they have 5 stocks going into 3 stocks, what would be their winning condition to be able to take this entire matchup. If they can beat the final player, which is most likely going to be the Wolf player, they will be able to take this. So they've put themselves in an incredibly comfortable spot.
Yeah, this is going to be an incredibly stressful next few matches for the last Spartans player. Everything is riding on them now. The only 3 stocks to go into 5 is just not a very good spot to be. But we have seen crazier comebacks before.
Yeah, and as we kind of look at this replay here, we can see how he was very able to effectively use the aerial knockouts he needed and the space from his little buddy to help him out there. 97 to 65 at this point, but it did go very quickly out of Schultz's favor. Even though he was able to gain some momentum in this moment, he just did not get the chance to predict the car as he was swapping his buffs.
Yeah, you couldn't really expect the car coming at you at 90 miles an hour. But that was a really good play out of Schultz. He just needed to maybe go a little bit quicker. Ludwig spent most of the game waiting for an opportune time to strike. And what he would do is he'd use every part of Bowser Jr.'s kit in order to secure those eliminations. We saw it with the little buddies, just being able to get up, using the height from the explosion to combo into a lot of his more faster-paced attacks, and even some of the heavier attacks, even through like grabs and those lighter ones as well. And if Schultz probably would have gone just a little faster, he might have seen a little bit less of a gap.
Yeah. I think that this is going to be a tough matchup, but I think that Wolf will not be deterred here as we look into the characters. He's not faced either of these opponents, but he has watched plenty of his opponents match up against his friends and has been able to discuss and work through what might be the best strategies here. And I think it's going to be a very intense matchup between these two. After all, the stakes are high for the Spartans. If they can take this, they will be able to bring it into another match and be able to see if they can maybe take this away from the Rainbow Warriors, but Hawaii is not going to go down without a fight.
Yeah, this is a fight to stay in the game for the Spartans. The Rainbow Warriors have the tournament on the line right now. But if the Spartans are able to take this, that means they have to play one more round, which may just be the thing the Spartans need in order to finally win this. But Wolf needs to first fight through 2 opponents before that can happen.
As we get ready to start the matchup, confirming everything is working well, we're going to jump into this with what could be one of the final matchups here. Wolf already bringing it in as fast as he possibly can to deal damage to Ludwig here, not really wanting to give him any room to work with.
Yeah, Ludwig taking a ton of damage here, not really able to reciprocate anything because of it. Ludwig already up to 87%, almost gets a good shot onto Wolf, but is quickly knocked out of it. Already up to 108. Wolf is laying on the pain for Ludwig and just not allowing him even an inch to move.
117 to 28% here. Launching him up into the air, not giving him what he wants.
Ooh.
He is able to get the first spin to win off for Wolf, and that is a stock down. He is not going down with a fight. My goodness, look at that. As he's already going to take a lot of punishment, though. A bit of a revenge for taking his stock so quickly. Ludwig is going to break down that shield a bit here, dodge away from the attacks, and get 53% off onto him.
Yeah, Wolf has done a pretty good job so far about getting all the damage he needs up, but at the same time, he's currently taking tons of damage here, up to 96%. He's still up 2 stocks, but if he's not careful, taking even 1 stock is more useful for Ludwig than it is for Wolf here.
96 to 93 with that. He's going to go for the attack, but not able to get it as he does reflect the cannonball. But Ludwig is going to go for it again. A second fake out. Wolf is not losing that stock just yet. And Ludwig is going to have to fight a little longer if he wants to take it.
And there it goes. Wolf is able to get the spin to win.
Another didn't. Wow, that's the fact that he was able to overcome 2 potential knockouts and then knock out Ludwig immediately. It has to go all the way down to the last character.
Oh yeah, now it's going to come down to the Pyra Mithra, which Wolf has kind of struggled with in this tournament so far. However, he hasn't faced Pyra Mithra at 3 stocks. He's only faced it in a 2-3 scenario. So I think he might actually have a pretty good shot at being able to get this win against them, bringing this to a tied ball game.
106 to 129 right here. Yeah, we see what could have been Ludwig's opportunity to knock out a stock ends up being an opportunity for Wolf to continue into the final matchup with all 3 stocks, which is as fair as it can possibly get for what could be the win here for Pyra Mithra and the Hawaii team.
I think we've seen a different player in every single final round of each one of these.
That's kind of incredible considering how a lot of times we'll see similar anchors or similar matchups near the end.
Yeah, because like you start to get a feel for your opponents, you start to get a feel for your players, you know where stuff wants to be. But yeah, this has been really interesting. Nobody really has felt like the anchor or the starter. Everybody's had a chance either in the spotlight or the most stressful situation, if depending on how you look at it. But out we come, Pyra Mithra against Wolf in what could be the final time, but if Wolf keeps playing like he did against Ludwig, this may not be.
Now we'll have to see. This is the opportunity for the Spartans to take this to a final game and for the Rainbow Warriors to win it all. Let's see how this goes as we get into the matchup.
Yeah, Wolf coming out strong already with almost a 40% lead in the damage game, but Mithra is quick to respond. Not quite with as much damage, but just still getting Wolf off of her back and just trying to get stuff done. Unfortunately, Wolf is not giving her even an inch, doing the tried and true spin to win move. Looks like Wolf is not happy about having to play them so many times at a disadvantage. He's going to show them now. The SD out of Pyra Mithra is setting the stage. Wolf has 3 stocks, hasn't even gone up to 50% yet, really putting Pyra and Mithra in a bad situation.
42 to 37, Wolf, despite having to deal with the bigger range of Mithra here, is taking that completely fine and moving up to deal as much damage as he possibly can. However, with the swap to Pyra, more damage is in the horizon here as they now have to be more careful of taking any attacks from the sword. Yeah,
more damage is going to be done by Pyra than Mithra, but now Mithra's coming out to use a little bit more speed. Both characters are at the same percentage, but Pyra and Mithra down a stock entirely. They need to find a stock here fairly quick just so they can get into a position to where they can get Wolf into... I mean, I'm going to sound like a broken record here. They're going to get Wolf into a spot where they can get a KO. But at the same time, they are just being knocked around like a pinball.
However, Wolf approaching 107 with Pyra Mithra approaching 106. It's anyone's game here as Mithra and Pyra getting off a devastating attack. Might be able to take it if they were not to take chip damage from Wolf here. Both shielding in the middle. it is still anyone's game, but Wolf with the advantage of both damage and stocks. It's going to be a rough spot here for Pyramithra if they can't find that one knockout they really need.
Good parry out of Pyramithra, but will it be enough to keep Wolf off the stage? Oh, it is!
Wow!
With the side special, being able to take Wolf down finally, but now Mithra is at 132%. Wolf starting fresh. They need to find a way to even these odds and quick if they want any chance at Wolf going down, because he is not going down without a fight.
165 to 13. Every move could be the last here. Speaking of which, there goes the knockout. Wolf bringing Pyramithra down to 1 stock, hanging on to his 2 stocks, completely taking away the advantage that Hawaii thought they had before he entered the field.
Yeah, Hawaii already up to 37%, Wolf only at 13. This could spell the end for Hawaii's run in this round and bring it to the match point. If Wolf is able to do this, 41% already and climbing. Wolf is now starting to pile on the damage, but so is Pyramithra. Just unable to get anyone, no one's really been able to get an advantage over the other, outside of stocks, obviously. But Wolf is just doing a ton of damage, but now it's being reciprocated by Pyra and Mithra.
100 to 85, Wolf trying to keep up the advantage, misses the attack. It might be an opening, and Pyramithra are able to take it now at 115 to 104. One good hit could be what they need as they go for the ledge recovery, trying to deny Wolf from getting any opportunities off of them. They see him charge up an attack and go for the grab, which brings him over to the ledge, 127 to 117. And they are able to trick him and bring off the attack 1-1 at 117. Can the Spartans take them out, or will the Rainbow Warriors be able to come back from what is this crazy deficit? Almost taken out! And Wolf is able to follow up and knock them out. We are going to a game 4.
What a match. That one came down to the wire. Talk about a clutch up from Wolf. Taking 5 stocks by yourself can't be easy, but he somehow managed to find a way to do it, and wow. We are now going to round 5 for the Mountain West Super Smash Bros. Championship, and this is going to be great. Every single match has come down to the wire, and I expect the finals to be no less exciting.
I'm kind of speechless, to be honest. Like, I was not expecting the 5 stock comeback from Wolf here. I mean, what an incredible moment that they were able to take that. And I imagine that at this point, the players are kind of running themselves ragged. I am shocked that he was able to do that. We've been playing so much. That must have been exhausting to pull off, but his team is absolutely grateful for that.
And think about it like this. If we're this exhausted, imagine how exhausted Hawaii is. This could be the push that the Spartans need in order to take the win for themselves. If they have managed to push Hawaii over the edge, this will allow them maybe a little bit easier time of just getting those stocks out. If they can find any sort of advantage in these next few rounds, that is pretty much a secured victory for them, as we've seen in the past. They get up 1-2 stocks, and it almost spells doom for the other team.
Yeah, I think that the Spartans absolutely need to give Coda a pat on the back and a moment to rest after that incredible upset, unless he's still raring to go and ready to take more stocks, which I don't know at this point. It has been quite the back and forth, but as we get ready, we're going back to 12-12, 2-2. This is the match. No matter what happens, one team will be leaving as the champions, taking the 2024 Mountain West Super Smash Bros. Competition Championships. Wow.
I don't think we could have asked for some better games for the finals, though. I mean, every single game has been super close. We haven't seen any sort of wipes. Even like in the individual matches, every single player seems like they are at the same or just like barely above or below skill level. There is nobody here who is like in another skill bracket compared to the rest of the team. And it just goes to show why these guys are here. These 8 guys are here, or I guess 8 plus subs. But these guys are here because they deserve to be. They fought all season long. They've perfected their characters, and whether that just be 1, 2, or sometimes even 3, they have proven why they should be here in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we're at that determining point here where they're going to decide what is going to be their leadoff for this final matchup. We've kind of seen all options at this point, with the only recurring one being Duck Hunt and Snake. So we'll have to see if that is how they decide to run with this, or if it will continue to change up and we see some new character matchups. I think we've seen every character face every character at this point. We've kind of seen it all, and so now this will kind of be just the rerun victory lap for both teams to see who's going to be able to get the advantage, if someone's going to run away with it, or if we're going down to the wire once again.
The one thing I do hope we don't see is another 7.5-minute Duck Hunt Snake game. That was a war of attrition.
I'm genuinely impressed we got to 7 minutes. Like, most of the time, people, like in games, you'll talk about what's a factor, and it's like, oh, well, time tends to be a factor.
Oh, different lead out this time. No Duck Hunt Snake, but Pyra Mythra Inkling. Quick.
Now we get to see, is it a 7-minute Pyra Mythra, which is absolutely not going to happen, but we don't know at this point.
You never know.
Testing out all the gear and getting ready to go. Both teams are kind of down to the wire every single matchup now. Going to run at full force to try and take this win, with the bomb starting us off.
Ooh, good parry out of Pyra Mythra, slowing down Inkling's advance in the air, just unable to capitalize on it. Only a little bit of damage has been transferred to Inkling so far, and Pyra Mythra are quick to even out the disparity between percentages, but neither have really been hit for really big damage quite yet.
23 to 34, now 41%. Pyra Mythra able to take a little bit more of a headway here with the damage onto Inkling, but not a lot of attacks have been landing, with both of these teams just being so speedy and agile with these character picks.
Yeah, now comes out the Pyra. I'm surprised they didn't get buried there with the roller, but that's probably the best case scenario, since any amount of damage from that roller and being buried is probably going to result in a few seconds of you immobile and unable to move. Oh, but Mythra is able to get a few bits of damage onto Inkling. Inkling at 101, 102% now. This is a very bad spot for them to be in, just because any damage from Pyra is probably going to spell doom.
102 to 90%. Inkling does not have a lot of opportunities except for the roller, but they are able to dodge out of the way before the paintbrush can knock them out. 122 to 102. Another roller!
Oh, barely missed with a jump from Pyra. But now Pyra doesn't have a sword, and Inkling isn't able to capture any sort of weaknesses there.
134 to 102.
Ooh, good aerial out of Pyra, getting that final blow onto Inkling. But now Inkling's only got 0%, and Pyra Mythra is at a pretty dangerous spot.
134 to 0%. That is definitely a dangerous spot to be in, especially when Inkling is able to get a grab and throw you off ledge. Now at 151, Inkling is looking for any opportunity, but with the fire on the sword out, Inkling is not able to advance against Pyra Mythra, and they are held back longer.
Yeah, that Blazing Edge, the side special out of Pyra Mythra, is just a really good tool to keep people away from you. And when you're at such a high percentage, keeping others away is going to be the name of the game. Inkling coming up for some really good damage onto Pyra, not really able to find any sort of kills here. Pyra also stacking on the damage that can't really be reciprocated by Inkling until they take this next stock. So the crunch is kind of on in order to find a few stocks onto this Pyra Mythra.
Inkling with the grab, and Pyra Mythra at 184%. This could be a knockout as they volley them in the air a little bit, bringing them to the ledge, able to avoid getting attacked by Pyra as they jump back onto the stage. But Pyra needs to be careful, as they are going to get knocked across the side, but luckily not too close to the side to be completely taken out. Now 202 to 65. This is an absolute panic mode for Pyra Mythra. Any hit is their knockout hit.
Hit with the bomb, but it's just not enough. It bounces them up, actually. Out goes Pyra Mythra once again, but is able to recover. That's like 4 times now that that's happened. The DI is incredible on this Pyra Mythra, just not able to go off the stage at all. Is this the time? Yes, it is. Inkling finally managed to secure the smash, but Inkling is now at around 80%, and that is not a very good spot to be when you are going up against Pyra Mythra, who hits so hard.
62 to 0%. Inkling getting a little bit more damage on. Now that they have been able to connect, they have a lot of damage potential here with the ink all on right now. Mythra here, 98 to 55. Just the back and forth continues.
Yeah, Inkling's still able to find a lot of good hits, almost evening the odds, but Inkling's now up to 114% compared to Pyra Mythra's 62. Inkling now up to 125, and now they're on the defense, but out goes Pyra Mythra with the forward smash, able to get the final kill. But Inkling is not really able to do that, and just needs to find a lot of damage here really quick and secure the smash.
100% to 2% right now. Starting fresh on the Inkling, though at one stock, they need to be very careful of taking too much damage here.
Ooh, out goes the blaster.
Or not, as now they can just single it out 1-to-1. Even the stakes here, it's all or nothing.
Now this will be the last time we get to see either of these characters if they do go down, but with Inkling at 53% already, they are stacking on the damage like no tomorrow. But there they go, starting to rebuild some of the damage that they lost. Pyra Mythra up to 30%, Inkling at 58, and steadily rising.
Mythra getting a couple combo attacks off onto Inkling, bringing them up to 72%, but Inkling with the tried and true grab, going to throw them off the ledge once more and really not let them get anywhere back onto ground safely, at least until right now, where they're going to swap back to Mythra with the 80 to 72. Closing up the damage percentages, Inkling is looking for their next opportunity, but they have to be careful with their low on ink. They do not have a lot of options here that Mythra can most certainly exploit.
Yeah, there's definitely both these characters are at really high percentages. Inkling especially is at kill range for Pyra. If he makes one wrong move, out goes Inkling. But at the same time, Pyra is in a position to be put into a very deadly place with damage-wise. And out goes Inkling with the forward smash. Pyra takes this first round, 10 stocks to 9.
You know, it wouldn't be this matchup if it wasn't a one-stock lead.
That is true.
Just a one-stock lead.
Yep.
Back to back.
And
Once
you know,
again.
we were talking about earlier with the War of Attrition, how it went like 7.5
I
minutes.
know.
That one got really close.
I looked at the clock and I'm like, oh, we're at 5 minutes. I'm like, did I cast or curse us to a 7-minute match? I almost did. It's okay. We're not talking about the time anymore. Time doesn't need to be a factor.
No, it's not a factor. I mean, time doesn't exist. It's just a social construct.
With 2 stocks on this replay, we can see just, once again, this was kind of a rough spot for Pyra and Mythra, and especially Inkling here, getting knocked off onto ledge. Dealing with Pyra is a very dangerous spot to be in, especially when, you know, the first attack doesn't work and they're just like, oh, I'll try again, and they get the read.
Yeah, they get the good smash attack on the second try, and I mean, they all say second time's a charm. So honestly, I think if the next person who goes into Pyra Mythra is going to have to figure out how to get around the high damage of Pyra and high speed of Mythra, because we saw Wolf do it. He did it to really high effect, but Inkling wasn't really able to do a ton of attacks that would have knocked out Pyra Mythra. The damage went up really high, but there's nothing really heavy was hitting, which in the end led to Pyra Mythra getting a lot more bang for your buck in terms of attacks.
I mean, Pyra Mythra has the benefit of, like, although their swords are, you know, very long range, like, Wolf is able to get up and attack them because at the same time, if you get right up next to them, it's really hard for them to do anything. And Inkling is a character that really likes to be able to go range and melee, but their melee is not up in your face. It's hitting you with the paintbrush from, like, half a foot away. And so it's definitely a rough spot to be in, but it looks like we're going to be swapping up from the ink and brush to the sword.
Yeah, Pyra Mythra Shulk. This is a universe clash of both from Xenoblade Chronicles. Love that game series, though. You should check it out if you haven't. But we're just checking out all moves, making sure everything's all right going into this matchup. And I will say, I think Shulk might have a slight advantage here, just because even though Pyra does have a little bit more of a range advantage when it comes to the side special in the Blazing Edge, but Shulk has a longer sword in general, which I think will help. Which I think will come in major handy in this.
13-7, now 13-13. With the speed boost gone, Shulk will have to try and find another one quickly, which he is going to activate the shield to give him a little bit extra room, and the Buster for some extra opportunities here. Stalling out the boost as much as possible. Mythra is looking for just a lot of good chip damage with small attacks to kind of build it up here.
Now Shulk is unable to find anything on Pyramithra, just keeping up the pressure all the time. But speed goes up on Shulk, and now Pyramithra is on the back foot, not able to do anything. Out goes the back throw. Smash comes out. Is this going to be the end for Pyramithra? Almost, but not quite. It is able to get right back to it. And now with no smash, Shulk is in a little bit more precarious situation as he can't realistically get a kill here.
73 to 69 here. With Shulk getting grabbed by Pyramithra, they will be able to try and pull something off, but they don't really get to make anything of it as Shulk is able to get out of it and activate Smash and Speed to do a little bit more damage, and then quickly move to getting some maneuverability around Mythra here. With the buff out though, Mythra is able to take that opportunity to swap to Pyra to try and get some more damage off.
Yeah, the Pyra has just done a really good job at keeping all the damage up, and Mythra has done a real good job at keeping up with even a speed boost at Shulk. Out comes the jump to help with a little bit of recovery, but there goes one of Shulk's stocks. He needs to close this out now if he wants to keep it at a 1-stock lead without reducing himself to only 1 stock going into the next round.
Yeah, this could be the upset that Hawaii is looking for right now, and a very devastating spot for the Spartans. They need to close this out, and they want to. With Mythra at 89%, it is completely feasible, but anything goes, especially with Mythra on the attack right now.
Oh, Smash comes out. Is this going to be the end? No, a really good counter out of Pyramithra, but up Smash comes out. Shulk takes down Pyramithra with 2 stocks left to go.
I've got a good rhythm going.
And with that, Shulk is able to keep the 1-stock deficit at 1 stock and continue forward into the next matchup to determine, I guess, who his next opponent will be. Could be anyone at this point. He's fought, yeah, everyone.
Yeah,
I was like looking at the roster, I'm like, yep, that's everyone.
Yeah, I think Pyramithra was the only one he hadn't actually faced head-to-head right until now.
That's true, because Shulk has been coming up in the beginning a lot, and Pyramithra has been in the back a lot. And that one time that he was in the back, she was at the front. So yeah, nope. It's the first kind of like real big interactions between the two, and it looks like the Shulk sword is going to beat out Pyra and Mythra.
But he did end up losing 1 stock in that exchange, though, which is a really good deal for the Rainbow Warriors because they now have the ability to go into a matchup 3-2, which puts them at an 8 advantage, and it'll be really interesting to see how the Spartans choose to go at this.
In addition to the fact that they do get to pick their character, so they also get to now pick their counter to Shulk, and with the, as we saw, I mean, with the deficit though, I will say the fact that Small Left was able to take a stock and keep his stock for so long is a really good sign for the Hawaii team if they're able to just continue to put the pressure onto this Shulk here.
Yeah, I think the pressure's starting to mount on both teams, and honestly, I've kind of seen it throughout the last 2 matches. Both of the players are really nervous to go get hit. They played a little bit safely. Pyramithra especially, or Pyramithra versus Inkling especially, most of the match was them just running around trying not to get hit, but also trying to look for openings. It's like a mix of I don't know if like I think they're starting to feel the 5 matches that they've played so far.
I mean, they haven't played 5 matches. They've played 4 because technically, well,
oh yeah,
this is the 4th match. We're in the 4th match. Don't worry, we're getting there. We have that 1 point from Hawaii that keeps throwing us off. But no, this is a best of 5 that we would only ever play up to 4 matches of, and we are in the 4th match. So those 3 previous matches in our current match, I mean, that is a lot, especially because, as we've talked about, compared to a lot of games, except for, like, Valorant, I think is the other one, Smash Bros. Crew battles take a very long time, and you're not just like sitting and relaxing. You are watching the matches, trying to help your team figure out what the strategies are, how to avoid problems that happened previously, and what the best solutions might be going into the next matchup. So you don't really get a lot of downtime, but so you're just constantly watching, playing, and making sure you stay in the zone, so that way the next time you're up, you're not going to be struggling.
You're also watching these guys on the other team as well, trying to figure out what their strategy is so you can best play into it. It's not all just about how what characters you decide to play into them. It's also about how you're going to play into their play style. Looks like we're going to see the Ludwig pick into the Shulk, so it'll be a little bit of a revenge match for round 1.
We'll get to see who's going to be able to recover this and continue forward. Possible opportunity for the Spartans to get an upset here, or for the Rainbow Warriors to attempt to increase the gap of their current lead even farther.
Looks like we are just doing a little bit of prep work, making sure everything's all good to go. And from the looks of things, we are just about ready to go. Schulk coming out strong with the first attack up 14%, but Ludwig is yet to come out and reciprocate. But of course, I mean, he's got to set up everything first and go at it. And of course, I say that, there goes Schulk with the 10% and counting. Out comes the speed out of Schulk, just trying to close that distance just a little bit more and outspeed the car, which is kind of a weird thing to say. How are you going to outrun a car? But I'm sure Schulk will find a way to do it.
Oh, good parry there from Ludwig allows him to get out of a sticky situation with Schulk there and gain some space that is much needed to kind of gain some ground here. Schulk goes in for an attack and is going to keep up the pressure. But Ludwig does have the better movement right now and is able to avoid it. However, at 41-21, the advantage is starting to slip, and any real momentum he had is going to disappear as well.
Yeah, Ludwig almost up to 40%. No blows have really been traded quite yet, but at the same time, it's also only been about a minute into the match. So there's still a lot of game left to play, but at the same time, not very many blows have been traded back and forth. Ludwig does get a few really good hits onto Schulk, up to 45%. Both of them are at around the same range now. The issue is Schulk is still only at 2 stocks. He is at the disadvantage here since he doesn't have as much resources to work with. Although Ludwig does go up to 70% here. If Schulk can get an early kill on Ludwig here, this puts him at a really good spot.
74-60% now. Staying close in the percentages for this matchup and playing fairly carefully with their attacks. Neither of them want to lose a stock, but Ludwig is going to try and find an opportunity here using the car to get some extra damage and bring Schulk to 98%.
Yeah, out comes the jab out of Ludwig. Doesn't really do a whole lot into the shield, but Schulk is just trying to get back on, but keeps getting hit by the car. Speed comes out, followed up by a shield, but isn't going to be enough to keep Ludwig off of him.
123-82. Schulk on the back foot, more on this stock. Has to watch out, or it could be a knockout. And just like that, there goes the knockout for his second stock, bringing him down to 1. But Ludwig is hanging on to all 3 so far. If Ludwig can do this, he might be able to get out of this match with 3 stocks. But with 92% and this ledge recovery, you'll have to be very careful and avoid any dangerous buffs from Schulk.
Now, Schulk is able to escape from that almost unscathed, only around 3%, but he hasn't really been able to he hasn't really been able to punish Ludwig at all for this. I mean, he's down to 10% now. Ludwig's at 102. He's just not really been able to give an opening to get into it. Even with the speed buff allowing him to go a little bit quicker, Ludwig's just done a good job at keeping him at a distance while also dealing a lot of damage. Out goes the slash and almost getting Ludwig, but he's able to recover from it fairly quick. In the same vein, Ludwig also hasn't really been able to get a ton of damage onto Schulk until now, but with the damage consistently piling on, Schulk really needs to find something here and get a stock onto Ludwig.
117-55, although he has been able to get some chip damage and just some damage shipped into Ludwig, he has not been able to gain as much as he wants, as his own percentage is going up quite fast, 77-127. Ludwig wants to be careful, but he also knows that he can get this win if he can get Schulk out of position and knock him out before he can do anything more to him. Using his shields to avoid major damage and launching him into the air, he's now created some space with his little buddy here, but he is going to get knocked out as a result. Schulk going down to going up to 102 with Ludwig at 0. He's not going to make it out with 3 stocks in total, but he still might be able to close this out if he gets his moment.
He's not going to go out unscathed, but now Schulk is in kind of a dangerous situation. Up to 110%, still has yet to land a hit on Ludwig. Any real hit from Ludwig is going to spell doom for Schulk and put him and is going to lead to the end of his run. But he has done a pretty good job also at keeping himself pretty safe. He just needs to find a way to do that while also dealing some damage to Ludwig, which he's sort of figuring out how to do here, just trying to keep him at an arm's distance, getting the throw off, but also getting nommed on by the little buddy of Ludwig's that he's just been able to use to such great effect in this matchup.
121-24% here. Although he really would like to be making a headway on this stock, he is not getting the opportunities. He's going to get launched off the ledge. This could be the moment here for Ludwig, and he knows it, trying to find any possible opportunities to start a combo or a win condition interaction. We see that Shulk is not going to let him do that just yet, using his shield and dodging with the speed boost to avoid him as much as possible. Gets a couple attacks off, but he's going to get hit by the car once again. 143 to 34. It is a tight matchup for both of them, but Ludwig is most certainly in a very comfortable position in the middle of the stage right here. Buster goes out, could be dangerous, but he's going to avoid it as best he can. He knows that all he needs to do is really stall it out and maybe catch him off guard when he gets a little bit greedy here.
Speaking of catching off guard,
Ludwig is the greedy one and gets taken out.
Wow, bringing it back to even. Shulk is really putting on the upset right now at 153%, no less. He finds a way to do that again, and he brings this back to a Spartan lead. All he has to do is get this one stock out without letting Ludwig get too much damage on him, which, I mean, easier said than done, but Shulk's proved it with the last stock.
153 to 49%. Jump is out, trying to use it to avoid some stuff, but he does get hit by the robot and does get a grab. This could be what Ludwig is looking for. With him on the ledge, he needs to get his opportunity, but Shulk is not going to let him get a ledge guard off. 176 to 68. The next couple interactions could determine where the match goes here. Smash is going to be activated, more damage dealt, but Ludwig is able to stall it out. Shulk just hanging on, not wanting to make any mistakes here. 73 to 176, still at 3 minutes left on the clock.
Oh,
wild!
he does it!
And Shulk finds his opportunity, taking Ludwig down and bringing the favor back to SJSU.
Holy cow, he managed to get 3 stocks at 150%, no less. Holy moly, what a play out of Shulk.
And we can see all the players for SJSU celebrating as they were able to take what looked like a potential snowball into an actual potential win here. They have the numbers advantage, they have the character, and with the way that Shulk has been performing, this is a crazy upset.
Holy cow, watch this back. This play just getting Ludwig into the air and just not giving him an inch to work with here. This is like prime example of how to play Shulk. If anyone in the audience is watching and really wants to play Shulk, watch this guy play Shulk just a little bit, and holy cow, you'll learn quite a bit. I was not expecting this.
Yeah, right here, I thought that Ludwig was going to get it. Like, he has the opportunity with this, but the way that Shulk was just backing off and not trying to move into any attacks really shows that he knew that if he tried to, he was going to lose the interaction, and he instead took it on his terms, winning it for SJSU. So the Spartans are still in it, still now have the advantage, and with the way that Shulk has been playing against a lot of these characters, it is a very scary spot for these Rainbow Warriors.
Oh yeah, if Shulk continues to play like that against the next 2 players, we may not even get to see Wolf and we may not get to see Wolf or Duck Hunt come out at all, because I think Shulk managed to take all 3 of Ludwig's stocks on just one of his own, if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that. He was not like fully ready to go there. But honestly, something that I found interesting too is the fact that Duck Hunt has not come out yet. He's been one of the earlier players for so many matches, and so the fact that we haven't seen him just goes to show how carefully the Spartans have been playing to kind of work into these strengths that they hope for. But we are going to see what looks like a change once again from Hawaii here. We will not be seeing DDD, but we will be seeing Young Link. So once again, the Battle of the Swords begins.
This could be the revenge match for Young Link. I mean, or for Shulk against Young Link. He did end up losing in the second round to the Young Link, but this could be his chance to maybe redeem himself a little bit, get a few stocks off on him.
Testing everything out and getting ready to go. The Battle of the Swords will begin anew. Taunts are out and the battle begins. Speed already activated for Shulk as he moves up towards Young Link, but he's going to use that opportunity to get some damage onto Shulk, bringing him up to 28% to start.
I mean, we've seen him at worse percents and doing a lot more, so this is not a very concerning spot to be in. But Young Link is getting the damage piled on, already at 41%. Slash coming out, and out goes Young Link. Can he recover from this? Yeah, oh yeah, he got this in the bag.
He has plenty of recovery there, and he's going to use it to much effect to try and use his bow to deal some damage, while Shulk uses shield to be able to reduce that. Now 53 to 33. Young Link is not able to get as much damage on as he would like onto Shulk here, using speed to avoid as much of the attacks as possible. Now at 64 to 50%.
Oh, Smash comes out once again. Is it going to be enough this time? No, he's got, Young Link's got a really good recovery with that grapple too. But Shulk comes out with the jump, trying to get around Young Link's defenses. Out comes the grab, and off the map he goes, but he's able to recover. But at 91%, Shulk has a really good possibility at getting at least one stock before he goes down himself. Speed comes out, Shulk is able to find a few really good hits onto Young Link, and Smash comes out, and there goes the first stock for Young Link, putting Shulk in a really good position.
72 to 0. Any extra, if anything, that is a devastating moment for Young Link and the rest of the Hawaii team, because increasing that gap is going to be rough going up against the rest of the players here. Shulk is at 105, which does mean there is some room for a knockout here. He does get the parry though, and he's not going to go down immediately. 34 to 113, using those platforms to his advantage to avoid Link and trying his best to not get thrown off ledge too far here. He has some opportunities to take another stock, but will he have the room with his damage percentage right now?
Yeah, out comes Buster, which is going to prevent Young Link from really using his shield all that much, but out comes the up smash, and Shulk manages to stay in this game. Shield comes out to hopefully allow him to get back on the stage, which he does. 42% on Young Link. Speed goes out on Shulk, trying to close the distance. Can he manage to get back in? Young Link up to 47% and counting. All Shulk really has to do is get a few more really good hits and then a smash. We saw him KO at lower percents than this. Backslash comes out, Young Link at 67, and Shulk at 188% and counting.
Knocking Young Link off the ledge and activating Smash. This is the opportunity to deal enough damage that could bring Young Link into a knockout zone, but he has to be very careful here as
Young Link misses it.
And the SD! A stock lost to the SD. Now Young Link has his last stock, and although he's going to get the knockout, that SD is going to sting going into the next matchup.
Nah, that increases their lead to 2 stocks. Young Link only has 1 to work with. It isn't quite detrimental, but it is definitely going to be instrumental in San Jose's victory.
That's a moment that will change the pacing dramatically. Wow.
I sort of expected, don't get me wrong, I expected at least one KO out of this Shulk.
Yeah, no, I agree.
He was starting to feel himself in the end of that last round, and he was doing really, really well. But 2, I was not expecting that. I was expecting Young Link to
maybe, but with the damage percentages, no way. But the SD, that sets a really good, comfortable spot for SJSU going forward.
Yeah, just a little bit, either too much of an overcommit out of Young Link or just barely not enough. But at the same time, this puts a really good, this is going to do really well for the mental of the Spartans, and maybe not so much for the Rainbow Warriors. But at the same time, this might just be a little bit of a ego check. Like maybe we can't keep fooling around. Maybe we got to keep going. We got to go even harder than we've been going before. So now the ball is in San Jose's court. They got to pick who they think is going to be best into Young Link. So who do you think they're going to be running out in this next round?
I wouldn't be shocked if it was Wolf, just because I think going for another projectile character against Young Link, who just has infinitely faster projectiles than Duck Hunt, isn't going to work out for them. Wolf can get up in Link's face, knock him out, deal a lot of damage, and if he chooses to, knock him upwards with the spin to win that we've been joking about a lot, like that could be the determiner, and it's one of the faster knockouts that they have access to, especially because Young Link can effectively deal with a lot of the projectiles.
Yeah, Shulk joins the 5-stock club along with Wolf. I think Wolf is going to be the better pick between the two, I do agree. Because since they have a Young Link here.
Yo, we got it right this time.
Which means it's going to be a Duck Hunt Snake final round.
3, 2, 1.
Oh. I didn't even think about that.
I mean, that's assuming that Wolf doesn't
doesn't 3-stock. Or not 3-stock, get the stock and go in with 3 stocks. But, I mean, Young Link does have a shot to do this. As long as he's able to get his projectiles out without Wolf using his reflecting, it should be good for Young Link as long as he can do some damage.
Yeah, Wolf jumping right into the fray. Damage already both sides trading back and forth. Wolf is trying his best to stay in range and really not give Young Link a lot of room to work with, and it's working so far, launching him into the air and not really giving him a lot of room for counterattack until now, using the boomerang to create some space and the bombs. He's stalling Wolf away and preventing him from really getting as close as he would like.
Yeah, both sides are doing a lot of damage here. Wolf is only getting a few shots in, but he's doing a lot of damage nonetheless. Young Link, on the other hand, is also doing a ton, just getting that damage racked up. Wolf really needs to find some damage here so he can get a really early kill. Young Link can kill at surprisingly small ranges if you are not careful. And I think this Wolf is going to find that out the hard way if he doesn't secure this kill quick.
119 to 99%. Young Link is in a dangerous position. But he's able to avoid it.
No, he's not. He was alive, and then he wasn't.
And with that, SJSU has managed to bring it to a 3-stock lead. 2 whole characters up against the final character, Snake, presumably, for the Rainbow Warriors.
I would expect Snake, if I'm being honest, because I think Snake is the only person that Gardenia has played so far tonight. If I'm not, yeah, because they've played Snake in every single round.
Yeah, they've played Snake. It's been Ludwig and the Snake have stayed the same the entire time. So most likely we will see a Snake. I mean, maybe it's the time for a last-minute character swap to surprise them and throw off all their strategies, but we haven't seen that so far, so it's most likely going to be Snake and Wolf.
Yeah, watching this recovery out of Young Link, that just puts him at such a bad position, not being.
That. Oh.
And then the immediate follow-up side special.
I mean, when you know, right?
Yeah,
like when you know you're not going to lose any stocks off of that, might as well go big or go home.
That is true. But if Wolf missed that stock, he was in a position to die first. So that was pretty risky when you think about it.
That is true. But overall, it did work in his favor, and now 3-6. The Rainbow Warriors, although starting with the match point, are not looking too hot anymore. And this is a dangerous spot because now the Spartans are looking towards that champion title, and they are looking very comfortable at this point.
The underdogs definitely do have a really good shot at winning this. They have 2 whole characters up against one in Snake. And honestly, they probably have the 2 best characters to go up against him. You have Wolf, who's going to be able to do a ton of reflecting back at the Snake. No grenades are probably going to get past him. And then you have Duck Hunt, who we've seen. I don't think Duck Hunt has won against the Snake quite yet, but in a matchup,
he was taking pretty good amount of stocks from him, though.
It was a really close game, even if he wasn't able to close it out. And if he has a stock advantage, I wouldn't doubt that Duck Hunt would be able to close it out really quick.
Yeah, I mean, and in general, even without talking about the characters, you have the 3-stock advantage of you have an entire other character to go up against this person. And so they have to manage to defeat 2 entire characters without losing 3 of their stocks, which is basically just asking for a miracle in some cases. Not impossible. We've seen the 5-stock defeat so far. So will Hawaii be able to get the 6-stock defeat?
I don't know. The Snake has played pretty well so far. He knows how to zone out the entire arena, which is definitely good against a character that you may not be able to, may not know everything against him, maybe at a small disadvantage. Being able to control that little bit of an arena is definitely going to work out in his favor.
All right, this is it. This is going to be one of the determiner fights. If Wolf is able to take down Snake, then this is the win that San Jose State University has been looking for. And if Snake is able to win this, he can continue the battle forward for the win for Hawaii.
Ooh.
With this jump into the match, we can already see damage for both sides.
Yeah, out comes the RPG, doesn't really find anything out of it, but Snake is doing a ton of damage onto Wolf, but Wolf is very quick to reciprocate all of that damage. Yeah, Snake is not really using a lot of his projectiles like he has been in the past, but more or less trading with Wolf in the hand-to-hand combat.
Dangerous spot to be in when you've only got 3 stocks, and the Wolf can technically do whatever he pleases, knowing there is another character behind him, which he does so, taking the first stock, bringing it 2-6.
Yeah, Snake is now in a really bad position here. Only 2 stocks to match with 6 stocks after this. I'd imagine that it's weighing on him that he has to go through not only this Wolf player, but the next one as well, being Duck Hunt, who put up the most fight. Wolf is able to get a really good attack onto Snake and push him right back onto stage, up to 76%. Already back up to even, but with 1 stock difference. Wolf has just done a ton of damage so far, even with a few attacks that he's done.
97 to 76. Snake taking more damage, trying to avoid getting into close range with Wolf, but to no avail as he launches him to the other side of the stage and tries to deny his recovery. Both of them going off the map. They'll have to be very careful here as Wolf wants to try and deny any potential for Snake to come back. He's able to use his explosives to gain more height and go above the Wolf, so he's not able to ledge guard him here. Now both at similar percentages, though. Wolf is able to launch him up in the air and get the knockout.
The
Snake
back
is
throw.
down to his last stock, 1-6 here. Snake has to fight his all to be able to take this from Wolf here. As Wolf is going to get launched off the ledge, the RPG might be able to stop him, but it's an uphill battle if I've ever seen one.
Looks like the C4 is starting to come into play for Snake, though. He's dealing a lot of damage. Gets the first stock onto Wolf, 2-1 now. He's still got a shot in this. He just needs to do a bit more damage than he has been. Wolf has done a great job at both staying away and pushing the advantage. He does get the grab, but doesn't manage to get the smash off. That's going to be a really hard thing to come back from. Now that gets the first smash. That's it. SJSU wins the Mountain West tournament. Wow. What a game.
And with a whole character left, of course, the final matchup is when we see the normal stock deficit increase. And with that, San Jose State University is able to take the win and become the Mountain West Super Smash Bros. Champions for the 2024 fall semester. Congratulations to the Spartans. What an incredible matchup.
This was an incredibly close matchup through and through. I don't think I've ever seen a Smash Bros. Tournament go as close as this has been before. This has been back-to-back, neck and neck, 1-2 stock differences. And I think in the end, it just came out to the mental state of the players. Maybe it was a tiredness thing, but nonetheless, every single member of that team of both teams did an awesome job hanging in as long as they did. They gave us quite the show. Congratulations, San Jose, for winning the Super Smash Bros. Mountain West tournament.
Yeah, and with that, that is all we have for tonight. So congratulations to both teams. Congratulations to San Jose for taking it all. Have a wonderful evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our Mountain West Super Smash Bros. Championship title.
Reciprocate all of that damage. Yes.
just when we thought we were done, we actually have a little bit more content left for this matchup. And with any championship, it is good to get some insight on how the win was able to be accomplished. So we're going to get an interview and a little bit of an insight into what happened during that matchup.
Hey there.
Hi, welcome on San Jose State University, and congratulations for the win. That was an incredible match.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're really happy with how we played at the end there. It was kind of looking down for us in some of the other games, and admittedly I wasn't playing super hot in some of those earlier sets, but we pulled through the win, and we're really proud of that.
I mean, at the end of the day, you were able to get the win, and so we were just curious to hear a little bit about how the match went and some of your thoughts going into it.
Yeah, so we were wondering, during the match, we saw that you guys were playing that every single player was like really evenly matched. Was there anybody on your team that you felt like was the linchpin of the strategy, or did you feel like there was anybody on the other team who was like, we need to take this guy down now?
Yeah, I think we most of our strategy comes from thinking about the player matchups or the character matchups that we're going into. That's a big thing in Ultimate because matchups can really determine, how the entire crew battle is going to go. So a big thing that we were thinking about was trying to get a good read on which character or player Hawaii was going to be starting with. Based on that, we wanted to try to cater our strategy on the starter. In crew battles, especially, your starter determines a lot of how that game is going to go, because it means you get counter pick advantage on the next round, right? So if you can win that first one, you have the opportunity to get more than 3 stocks, and that's the goal. So unfortunately, it didn't really work out a whole lot for us. We were having reads on their starter based on our match that we had with them earlier this week on Tuesday, and so based on that information, we thought that small left was going to be the starter every time, and we tried to cater our lead to that. But they actually mixed it up, which was really good strategy from them. We felt like we had to play from the back foot a lot. So in game 1, they won the counter pick wars on us on the start a lot. So if we wanted to eventually win back the counter picks, it means that we had an uphill battle. So I think from our players, we definitely feel like Coda, our Wolf player, is one of the strongest on our team. He's super consistent at every character that we go into, both being a Wolf main, but also just he's super well understood in tons of different matchups. So we can always feel like we're comfortable throwing him in. And there's sometimes where we want to use him as a counter pick, and sometimes where we want to use him as a closer. Also, Olego, our Duck Hunt player, fantastic matchup check. He's super good at telling when the opponent is super uncomfortable, knows how to capitalize off of that. So if there's a matchup we feel like we can use him for a counter pick in, we're definitely going to want to use him there. And Father Daddy, our Inkling player, Inkling is historically not a great character on Wi-Fi, and especially in the game, kind of had a little bit of a fall off in the meta, but he's so fundamentally strong that we can send him in wherever. And then in my case, I play Shulk, a very volatile character that you need to play very patiently. So if I do succeed, I'm able to, take out a lot of stocks if that's possible.
Yeah, that's some awesome insight into the matchup. And I mean, everything you're talking about, we saw completely on screen where you guys were able to win the counter picks back after all. I mean, you guys definitely had an uphill battle and were able to use it to your advantage. So that's awesome that you're able to pull it off. I did have a question hearing you talk about the counter picks. Was there at any point a character that you guys were like, oh, this is really, like, we need to get him out of here or he is going to be, like, spell our doom?
Yeah, so I think specifically for me, I did not want to fight Bowser Jr. That's a character that I don't have a whole lot of experience against, and is definitely like very volatile, can really make your stocks just get deleted instantly. But our other players felt stronger about that. So, you usually don't want to have to cater your strategy based on which of your, based on like your weaknesses. You normally want to play to your strengths. But if we end up losing one of our players and we don't have the ability to counterpick with one of our strong players against someone, you kind of have to play the matchup, right? So you saw that in the last game in Game 5. I wasn't super interested in playing against Bowser Jr., and I had to, just take the counterpick, close it out, and I managed to do it, which I'm super proud of. That was a tough win to get in that last stock.
Yeah.
But I think everyone else felt very comfortable. I know that Father Daddy didn't really want to play against small left. Inkling versus Aegis is not a very positive matchup. It's very difficult for Inkling to get grabs, which is really pivotal to the character's game plan. So we normally like to play to our strengths there. If we can, then we'll try to win the counter pick wars from the beginning, but that wasn't an option this time.
Yeah, well, that's awesome, and I think all of the insight that you've been giving just really shows like how that matchup went, and like how even despite down to the wire, you guys were really thinking about how to make those picks. So thank you so much for sharing. Congratulations with your win once again. That was a hard-fought victory, and we hope that you have an awesome night and get some well-deserved rest from that matchup.
Oh yeah, of course. Right before finals week too, we're all super grateful to have this win going into finals. It's definitely going to be the motivational push we need.
Hey, good morale booster for all of your finals going into it. So yeah, congratulations
Absolutely.
once again, and have an awesome
Yeah.
night.
Thank you. Could I give a few quick shout outs?
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, first I just want to shout out our esports president, Vin. He's been a fantastic help to us the past few years that we've all been at the school. And he's been, super pivotal to getting our esports department off the ground. So we're super grateful to Vin. We're also grateful to Gabe, our esports coordinator. He's been super, a huge part in the past year helping us get off the ground and moving into this. So we're definitely proud to take home a championship title for them. We also want to give a big shout out to who, guys?
Soda! Yeah!
One of our alumni, Sonam Slash. We're very grateful for the practice you've given us. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. That's awesome. Well, once again, have a great night, and it's awesome to see the community that you've built and the victory you've been able to achieve for them. So have a wonderful night, and congratulations on the win once again.
Thank you again. You guys have a good one.
You as
You too.
well.
I think that was really interesting to hear how much strategy was going even into the last matchups and a lot of the counter picks that they kind of had to pick regardless of whether or not they felt like they could accomplish them.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's a lot more strategy in Super Smash Bros. Than what you might think in the beginning. It's a lot more about like picking characters that are strong into others and trying to play to your strengths even in the face of weakness. And the fact that these guys were able to do it to such good effect is what I believe allowed them to come out victorious tonight and just barely edge out the win over Hawaii.
Yeah, and well, with that, the insight under our belt and the championship title determined, that is all we actually have for you tonight, this time with the interview fully completed.
This is truly the last thing.
Yeah. So once again, have a wonderful night. Thank you for joining us, and have a great rest of your evening.